Phoenix Nights. Chapter 2435. Domineering aura was too important for cultivators, and the levels of domineering aura were very strict. High-level domineering aura suppressed low-level domineering aura greatly. The higher the level of domineering aura, the more difficult it was to activate it because it consumed a lot of energy. For example, if Lin Feng could activate the first stage of domineering aura 4 times. If he activated the second stage of domineering aura, his magic power might only be able to support Lin Feng activating it twice. Lin Feng had great expectations for epical domineering aura, because epical domineering aura could evolve. Although epical domineering aura was only at the first stage of transparent domineering aura, it might even surpass sovereign domineering aura in the future. The infinitely evolving domineering aura increased a lot of uncertainty and anticipation. Now, Lin Feng had obtained the Tyrant Bone. Lin Feng hoped that this Tyrant Bone could evolve his epical domineering aura. The first stage of domineering aura was transparent, the second stage of domineering aura was domineering, the third stage of domineering aura was red, the fourth stage of domineering aura was orange, the fifth stage of domineering aura was yellow, the sixth stage of domineering aura was green, the seventh stage of domineering aura was cyan, and the eighth stage of domineering aura was blue. The ninth stage of domineering aura was purple. 9 represented sovereign. Therefore, purple domineering aura was also called sovereign domineering aura. Now, Lin Feng's epical domineering aura was about to evolve from transparent to white. Inside the cave, the little girl was lying more than 10 meters away from Lin Feng. Lin Feng spread a comfortable blanket on the ground. The little girl was lying on top of the blanket. Lin Feng didn't want to disturb the little girl when he was practicing cultivation, so he made a few deployment spells to protect her. This way, when Lin Feng was cultivating, he wouldn't disturb the little girl even if he made a commotion. Lin Feng held the Tyrant Bone and activated the archaic dragonesque elephant art. He tried to refine the Tyrant Bone, but the archaic dragonesque elephant art couldn't refine it. Activate your epical domineering aura! The demon lord's voice resounded in his mind. Lin Feng nodded and started activating his epical domineering aura. When it was released, the Tyrant Bone seemed to sense. It directly broke free from Lin Feng's hand's aura. Kacha, the Tyrant Bone floated in the air and then began to crack. It didn't take long for the Tyrant Bone to shatter into dust. The dust was absorbed by Lin Feng's qi. At this time, Lin's domineering began to change. It was originally transparent and domineering, and began to gradually to change aura. It was a faint white color. It transformed. When Lin Feng saw the qi turn from transparent to white, he was pleasantly surprised. It was to evolve aura. To aura, it was. Domineering aura. Evolving. Was. This was. Lin. He let out a long sigh. Domineering was. But he. Was to be to it to be. To. Was. He still needed to find a new Tyrant Bone. Was. Lin Feng was very clear about that. The first time. Was. Only. What about the next evolution? A single Tyrant Bone would definitely not be able to complete the evolution of hockey. It would probably consume several Tyrant Bones. Of course, that was in the future. Lin Feng. He had to prepare to break through to the heavenly god realm. The battles of the young geniuses ranking list were extremely beneficial for Lin Feng's cultivation. Lin Feng felt that he was close to the heavenly god realm. Next, he needed some time. Lin Feng felt that he could break through to the heavenly god realm. Lin Feng. Once he broke through to the heavenly god realm, he would be awesome. Lin Feng could use domineering aura without any side effects. This was Lin Feng's trump card. The night was dark. It was quiet in the forest. There were no roars of beasts, nor were there any sounds of insects or birds. It was too quiet. There was not even a gust of wind in the forest. Outside the cave, a bonfire was burning. Lin Feng made barbecued meat snake soup. Buddha jumps over the wall, braised bear paw, and more. As a foodie, these ingredients were essential. Bibi and Dragon Rabbit flew out of the mountain river ring and surrounded Lin Feng. They drank and enjoyed the food. Little Tian Tian is hungry. At this time, the little girl walked out of the cave. Maybe she smelled the food. She stared at the food on the table and drooled. No matter how powerful the little girl was. But she was still young. She was only 5 or 6 years old. Children of this age were naive, but they loved to play and eat all kinds of food. You're awake. Come to Big Brother, and see if there's anything you like, Lin Feng said with a smile. Thank you, Uncle, the little girl said sweetly. Her big eyes were like crescent moons. She was very cute. It's Big Brother, not Uncle, Lin Feng corrected her. The little girl walked over and pointed at the barbecued meat. Uncle, I want to eat this barbecued meat. Lin Feng couldn't help but rub his face in annoyance. Was his handsome face really that old? She called him Uncle. It was clearly Big Brother, okay? However, looking at the little girl's serious face, it was obvious that she really thought of him as an uncle, and not a big brother. Lin Feng couldn't help but sigh. Time was really a butcher's knife. She had actually turned such a handsome, elegant, and accomplished young man into an uncle. Lin Feng gave the barbecued meat to the little girl. The little girl was obviously very hungry. She ate with relish. Although she was small, her appetite was huge. Lin Feng, Bibi, and Dragon Rabbit only ate a small portion of the food. The rest was eaten by the little girl. Are you full? Lin Feng asked. The little girl nodded with a smile. Then she looked at Lin Feng with her big eyes and said, aren't you the uncle who participated in the genius rankings? Lin Feng almost fell to the ground when he heard the little girl's words. He had been picking food for her, pouring water for her, wiping her mouth, and so on. She didn't even recognize him? Lin Feng smiled bitterly and nodded. Yes, I'm the uncle you were talking about. What's your name? My name is Ding Xinyao. My nickname is Little Tian Tian. Uncle, you can call me Little Tian Tian, the little girl said. This little girl's background was obviously not simple. Lin Feng wanted to know where she came from to be so powerful. Chapter 2436. Little Tian Tian said, Mother said that I can't tell anyone about my identity. Lin Feng smiled. Am I not your uncle? I'm not an outsider. Little Tian Tian sucked on her finger and began to ponder. Lin Feng felt like he was a big bad wolf trying to trick a little bunny. Little Tian Tian was so innocent and cute, of course. That was when she wasn't hitting people. How could he have the heart to trick her like this? He felt too guilty. But, I forgot where father and mother are. No way? That works too. Lin Feng couldn't help but feel a little speechless. Little Tian Tian said weakly. Father and mother said that Little Tian Tian should sleep, so Little Tian Tian was coaxed to sleep. When I woke up, I didn't see father and mother anymore. Did you come out of the stone? Lin Feng asked. Little Tian Tian nodded. Yes, Little Tian Tian came out of a stone. Lin Feng couldn't help but think to himself. It was just as he had guessed. Little Tian Tian had come out of the stone. Creatures that came out of the stone were also divided into strong and weak. Little Tian Tian was definitely one of the strongest. More importantly, Little Tian Tian was just too young. If she was a little older, and had such a terrifying cultivation, it wouldn't be a big deal. It was understandable. But how old was Little Tian Tian? She was only 5 or 6 years old, and yet she had such a terrifying cultivation. It was simply inconceivable. She was ridiculously strong. Lin Feng really didn't know what kind of people her parents were. Little Tian Tian didn't want to talk about it. Lin Feng didn't want to continue asking. It wouldn't be good if Little Tian Tian resisted. Little Tian Tian looked at Lin Feng curiously. Uncle, what's your name? Lin Feng. You can call me Uncle Lin. Lin Feng. Lin Feng. I remember now. Your name is Lin Feng. You seem to be quite famous. When you went on stage, many people were talking about you. little Tian Tian said. Lin Feng muttered in his heart. There are even more people talking about you. He rested for a night. The next day, Lin Feng, little Tian Tian, Bibi, and Dragon Rabbit set off together. Bibi and Dragon Rabbit came to the forest and became extremely lively. They ran around everywhere. Little Bunny, little Bibi, wait for me. Little Tian Tian, on the other hand, was also a child by nature. Now that he was together with Bibi and Dragon Rabbit, his natural instincts were released. He ran around behind Bibi and Dragon Rabbit. Lin Feng, on the other hand, had a grave expression on his face. They had been flying in the forest for over 10 days, but they still hadn't been able to leave the forest. This forest seemed to be too big. Most importantly, the forest was dead silent. Apart from the flowers and trees, there were no other living beings. It was extremely strange. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown. What was going on? Why was it so quiet? Demon Lord, how do you think we should explain the current situation? Lin Feng asked. Something is indeed wrong. It feels like we're trapped in a dead world, and will never be able to find a way out, Demon Lord said. Lin Feng frowned. If that was the case, then things were not good. The current situation was extremely strange. Lin Feng couldn't think of a way to deal with it. Do you have a way to get out? Lin Feng asked. Let's take it one step at a time. I can't think of a way either, Demon Lord said. Lin Feng couldn't help but sigh. This was a very troublesome matter. Would he be trapped in this damned place until he died? Thinking about it, it was possible. Xiao Tiantian, Bibi, and the Dragon Rabbit were playing happily. But who knew, this little girl's punch had caused them to leave the passage to the Nine States Wonderland and land in this strange place. He didn't know where this place was. Lin Feng had a feeling that this place wasn't the Nine States Wonderland. Of course. Lin Feng hoped that his feeling was wrong. If this place wasn't the Nine States Wonderland, then it would be a waste of his first place on the Genius Roll. Because the first place on the Genius Roll received a lot of luck. This luck was very special. Apart from being able to connect with one's fate, it was also related to the Nine States Wonderland. Lin Feng's luck was also related to the opportunities in the celestial territory of the 9 provinces. Lin Feng had obtained so much luck in the celestial territory of the 9 provinces. But the key point was, given the current situation, he didn't even know where he was trapped. What *T opportunity? He was already thousands of miles away. To be able to leave this damned place safely was already pretty good. As for the so-called opportunity, Lin Feng didn't dare to think about it. After flying for another 10 days, it was still a desolate world. There were only flowers and trees, and nothing else. Lin Feng's face was filled with worry. As for Bibi, the Dragon Rabbit, and Xiao Tiantian, they were having a lot of fun. At their age, they didn't know the taste of worry at all. Holy *T. I, your young master, am handsome, elegant, and talented. Everyone loves me. Flowers bloom, flowers bloom. I've met so many dangers and survived them. I won't be trapped in this place in the end, will I? Lin Feng could not help but wail in depression. 3 days later, Lin Feng was resting in a forest. Bibi, the Dragon Rabbit, and Xiao Tiantian ran off to play. Lin Feng was thinking about how to leave this damned place. But no matter how he thought about it, he felt that he couldn't get out. Huff, huff, huff! Suddenly, a demonic wind blew in the distance. Lin Feng was alarmed. A demonic wind is blowing? Something evil must have appeared. Lin Feng's eyes suddenly lit up. He quickly soared into the sky and hovered in midair, looking into the distance. The demonic wind swept across the world, quickly blowing towards Lin Feng. In the midst of the demonic wind, a huge azure bull appeared. When Lin Feng saw the gigantic black ox, he almost burst into tears. A living creature had really appeared. It was too exciting. Brother Ox! Shouted Lin Feng from far away. He wanted to get closer to Lin Feng. He wanted to get familiar with the ox first. Then, he would try to get information from the ox. He wanted to see how he could escape from this damned place. Lin Feng did not want to stay here for even a moment longer. He wanted to find an opportunity. He wanted to break through to the celestial god realm. In this place, breaking through to the celestial god realm was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Moo! When the gigantic ox saw Lin Feng, it roared in a deep voice. Next. Chapter 2437. The young man ran through the void. With such a huge body, the power generated from the collision was shocking. That terrifying attack made Lin Feng frown involuntarily. However, Lin Feng was strong and bold. He was not worried at all when he saw the big green ox coming. Lin Feng slapped at the ox. Bang! The slap landed on the ox's horn. Lin Feng originally thought that he could subdue the ox, but he did not expect to be sent flying by the ox. Lin Feng's arms were numb. The strength of the gigantic scion ox was terrifying. Lin Feng was astonished. Lin Feng felt his arm go numb. The ox looked over with a look of disdain, as if it was looking down on Lin Feng. This made Lin Feng feel gloomy. He was actually looked down on by an ox. Dragon Elephant Arm. Lin Feng snorted coldly and used the 4th level of the Dragon Elephant chant. He used the Dragon Elephant Arm and attacked the ox. Thud, thud, thud. The ox began to run wildly in the void. The ox was very ferocious. Once it ran wildly, it could generate a fierce demonic wind. The demonic wind that swept across the sky was like a hurricane. It was so powerful that it made people's hearts tremble. Once the big green ox ran wildly, the impact it produced was extremely tyrannical. Its huge horns were simply more powerful than the sharpest magic treasure. Bang! Lin Feng punched the ox's horn, but he was unable to send the ox flying. The ox's strength shocked Lin Feng, but Lin Feng reacted quickly. He grabbed the ox's horn with both hands. Then, he leaped into the sky. In the next moment, Lin Feng sat on the ox's back. The ox's body began to shake violently. It wanted to throw Lin Feng off. However, the ox failed to do so after several attempts. Big Azure Ox, I have no intention of becoming your enemy. Let's sit down and have a good talk. What do you think? Lin Feng said. However, the big green ox had no plans to sit down and talk with Lin Feng. It immediately rushed towards a mountain peak. Then, it crashed into the mountain. F***ck, why do you still have the tendency to self-harm? Lin Feng couldn't help but shout. When the green ox heard Lin Feng's words, it could not help but roll its eyes. It could not help but cry out in its heart, "You're the one who has self-harming tendencies. Your entire family has self-harming tendencies." Naturally, the reason why the big green ox crashed into the mountain peak was not because it had a tendency to harm itself. Instead, it was because the big green ox wanted to break away from Lin Feng by crashing into the mountain peak. Its horns were so sharp that they could easily pierce through a mountain peak. Lin Feng was sitting on its back. When the time came, Lin Feng would also crash into the mountain peak. The powerful impact would be best if Lin Feng could be killed directly. However, Lin Feng's body was also extremely strong, so the big green ox's plan was destined to fail. It was destined to fail. The huge mountain peak was broken into two by the big green ox, but Lin Feng was still holding on to the big green ox's horns, completely unscathed. What a stubborn ox! In that case, I have no choice but to subdue you! Lin Feng could not help but snort coldly. He grabbed the ox's horns with one hand and used the other to smash the big green ox's head. Bang, bang, bang! Punch after punch landed on the big green ox's head. The big green ox was also hit until it was dizzy. Lin Feng's strength was too strong. No matter how strong the big green ox's defense was, it could not take a few punches to the head. Moo! The big green ox was thoroughly enraged, and it let out a series of roars. Waves of terrifying demonic elemental energy escaped from the big green ox's body. The demonic elemental energy enveloped Lin Feng. Not good! Feeling the demonic elemental energy emitted from the big green ox's body, Lin Feng's expression changed slightly. This kind of demonic elemental energy was very terrifying. Lin Feng had to be on guard. He quickly left the big green ox's body. At this time, the big green ox opened its mouth. Boom, boom, boom. In the next moment, huge energy balls were spat out by the big green ox. Those energy balls were all aimed at Lin Feng. The power could be described as apocalyptic. Lin Feng was in a difficult situation as he dodged the ox's attack. But he still could not completely dodge. He was sent flying by one of the green yak's energy balls. His head suddenly felt dizzy, and his consciousness became blurry. That feeling was really terrible. Moo! After seeing Lin Feng get hit, the big green ox let out a roar, and then a demonic wind swept through the world. The big green ox stepped on the demonic wind and rushed towards Lin Feng. Once again, the ox's horns were aimed at Lin Feng. The big green ox wanted to kill Lin Feng directly. But halfway there, a small figure flew from afar and sent the big green ox flying with a punch. Little Tian floated in the air and snorted. "Don't bully little Tian's Uncle Lin!" Being sent flying by a 5 or 6-year-old girl's punch was too humiliating. How could the big green ox endure it? It could not help but roar and pounce on little Tian. At this time, Lin Feng's mind was much clearer. Bibi and the dragon rabbit surrounded Lin Feng and squeaked, as if worried about Lin Feng's safety. Lin Feng patted the heads of the two little guys, indicating that they did not need to worry about him. At this time, little Tian and the big green ox stood together. Bang, bang, bang! Little Tian waved her small pink fists and threw punch after punch at the big green ox. The big green ox was sent flying by little Tian over and over again. Lin Feng knew how terrifying little Tian was. Although she was young, her cultivation could be described as unfathomable. Just as Lin Feng saw, little Tian's display of strength was shocking. The big green ox was so powerful, but it was no match for little Tian. But the big green ox's stubbornness came out. Even though it was mercilessly sent flying again and again, the big green ox would charge forward again each time it was sent flying. Stubborn ox! Lin Feng could not help but twitch his mouth. Bang! Another violent collision sound was heard. The big green ox was sent flying again. Little cow, this is so fun! Come on! Little Tian said with a smile. Her big watery eyes curved into crescents. She saw this battle as a game. This made the big green ox very angry. And the big green ox was very unhappy with being called Little Cow. How was it, little? It was obviously very big, okay? Moo! 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 The angry big green ox let out 3 deep roars. Then, Lin Feng saw the big green ox's fur turn from green to black. Chapter 24:38. The only difference was that its fur had turned black. The green ox's eyes had turned black as well. His body emitted a cold and evil aura, which made people feel very uncomfortable. Demonization? Lin Feng looked at the green ox in shock. Demonization was a special ability. It was similar to how some living beings could morph into beasts. Demonization was similar to atavism. Through transformation, one's strength would be greatly increased. After transforming, the green ox's aura became many times stronger than before. It was obvious that the green ox's cultivation had increased greatly after transforming. Lin Feng's face was filled with shock. This green ox was not to be underestimated. It would be very difficult for him to deal with it. He might even be killed by it in the end. However, the green ox's target was Xiao Tian. In Lin Feng's eyes, Xiao Tian was an invincible existence. The green ox charged at Xiao Tian, riding on a demonic wind. At that moment, the green ox's heart was filled with coldness. How dare you force me to demonize? I don't care if you're a child or not. I'm going to kill you today. Wow, little cow has transformed. After little Tian recovered from her initial shock, she let out an excited cheer, as if she had seen something fun. I'll send you to hell! The green ox shouted viciously in its heart. It hated being called Little Cow. Bam! Seeing Big Green Bull charging over, little Tian swung her pink fist at Big Green Bull. After demonizing, the green ox had been full of confidence, thinking that it could defeat Xiao Tian. However, when the two sides collided again, the green ox wanted to cry but had no tears. It was sent flying again by Xiao Tiantian. Why is this happening? I, Grandpa Ox, have clearly demonized. My strength has increased by a full 5 times. But why am I still sent flying with a punch? Why is this little girl so monstrous? The green ox wailed in its heart. Right now, it even had the heart to bang its head against the wall and die. Why was it so unlucky today? Why was the person it met so monstrous? I can't beat her. Run, run, run! That was the only thought left in the green ox's mind. Little Tian was too powerful. The big green yak was scared out of his wits. A wise man knows better than to fight when the odds are against him. The big green ox found an excuse for itself to escape. Then, he ran madly into the distance, wanting to escape as soon as possible. Chase it! Don't let it run away! We still need to make beef soup! Lin Feng shouted. When she heard the words beef soup, little Tiantian's eyes suddenly lit up and she almost drooled. Little Nio, don't run! Uncle Lin said that he's going to make beef soup for little Tiantian. Little Tiantian really wants to drink it. The big green ox was depressed. Make your sister's beef soup. Now, the big green ox had the urge to smash Lin Feng to death. However, a lack of forbearance in small matters would spoil great plans. Grandpa Nio tolerated it for now. The big green yak told itself that impulsiveness was the devil. It absolutely could not be impulsive now. The most important thing now was to escape. But the key was that the big green ox had not been able to escape even after fleeing for so long. In the end, little Tiantian caught up to the big green ox, and it went berserk. The big green ox wailed. Spare me! Spare me! Let's talk this out, oh! Now you know how to beg for mercy. Weren't you all cocky just now? Lin Feng pursed his lips as he looked at the big green ox. The big green ox was extremely depressed, but it had no choice but to lower its head when it was under someone else's roof. It hurriedly said, I didn't recognize Mount Tai just now and offended the 2 little ancestors. I beg the 2 little ancestors to be magnanimous and forgive this little one's mistake and let this little one go. Lin Feng said, It's not that I can't let you go, but you have to answer some of my questions. The big green ox hurriedly nodded and said, No problem at all. As long as you let me go, I'll tell you everything I know. The big green ox's attitude was not bad. Lin Feng nodded in satisfaction, then asked, Is this the paradise of the 9 states? The big green ox said, That's right. This is the paradise of the 9 states. Lin Feng let out a long sigh. Fortunately, this was the paradise of the 9 states, and they did not fall to any other place. He then asked, Why haven't we left this forest after walking for so long? The big green ox said, This is called the Deathly Still Forest, and it's a very strange place. There should be a magnetic field covering the forest, so once you enter this place, it's very easy to get lost, and you won't be able to leave even if you're trapped to death. In the paradise of the 9 states, this place is also an extremely dangerous place, so there are basically no living beings who enter the Deathly Still Forest. Deathly Still Forest. Deathly Still Forest. Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter this name. The name Deathly Still Forest was very suitable for this ancient forest. There were no other living beings here apart from flowers and trees, and it was truly a place of death. Are you a living being living here? Or are you a living being from the outside? Lin Feng asked. The big green ox rolled its eyes and said, I'm a living being living here. If you want to leave, I can send you out. Lin Feng knew that the big green ox was not telling the truth. He looked at little Tiantian and said, Baby, let's make some beef soup tonight, and we can also make braised beef knuckles, marinated beef, and other delicacies. They'll all taste great. Little Tiantian was about to drool. She said, Uncle Lin, let's slaughter this ox right now. Okay. Lin Feng nodded. This interaction between the big and the small ox scared the big green ox half to death. Demons! 2 demons! The big green ox thought viciously. It was also slandering Lin Feng and little Tian Tian in its heart. It quickly said, "Everyone, don't be rash. I'll tell you the truth. Please don't kill me. I came from the outside." Lin Feng looked straight into the big green ox's eyes and asked, "The deathly still forest is so dangerous. Why did you take the risk to enter it? Once every million years. The deathly still forest's deathly still fruit is about to ripen. I'm here to search for the deathly still fruit," the big green ox said. "Ripen once every million years? What kind of fruit needs a million years to ripen? Does this deathly still fruit have a special origin?" Lin Feng was astonished and couldn't help but ask. "Guogua, I want to eat guogua." Little Tian Tian's eyes lit up when she heard that the deathly still fruit needed a million years to ripen. Chapter 2439. Little Tian Tian knew how to eat. She knew how precious the deathly silence fruit was, and she couldn't stop her saliva from dripping out. This little girl had an extraordinary background. Although she was young, she could tell what was good stuff. As for the deathly silence fruit, which only ripened once every million years, it was definitely good stuff. Lin Feng was also very eager to get his hands on the fruit. For it to ripen after a million years, how heaven-defying would its effects be? He only needed one of these heavenly treasures to break through to the heavenly god realm. Lin Feng told himself that he had to find the deathly silence fruit no matter what. He wanted to use it to break through his current cultivation. Once he broke through, he would be able to use his supreme aura without any qualms. At that time, he would be able to wake up laughing in his sleep. The deathly still fruit is an immortal fruit in the legends, born from the deathly still tree. There is only one of this deathly still tree in the entire universe. It is said that it was cultivated by an immortal king-level expert. Later on, the immortal king fell and the deathly still tree was left behind. In reality, it was not truly left behind, but appeared in the deathly still forest. The formation of this huge deathly still forest is directly related to the deathly still tree. Rumor has it that the deathly still tree contains the immortal law, and it is the immortal law of the deathly still tree that changed everything here, even forming a magnetic field. Only when the deathly silence fruit ripens will the magnetic field be at its weakest. Only then can one enter the deathly silence forest. Entering at any other time is no different from courting death, Lin Feng said. "Where is the deathly silence fruit? Do you have any clues?" the green ox said. "I've been looking for a long time, but I haven't found anything yet. I reckon that the deathly silence fruit hasn't fully ripened yet. Once it fully ripens, it will definitely produce a phenomenon. At that time, we'll know where the deathly silence fruit is." Lin Feng continued asking, "Are there any other living beings besides you that have entered?" the green ox said. "There are a few powerful existences that are eyeing the deathly silence fruit. Of course, there might be some other existences that I don't know about that are eyeing the deathly silence fruit as well." Lin Feng nodded. Many terrifying beings would risk their lives to enter and search for something as precious as the deathly silence fruit. If they could find it, it would be a great opportunity. Such a fortuitous encounter was naturally a fortuitous encounter that everyone dreamed of. It was worth the risk. Lin Feng asked, "What kind of world is the Nine Prefectures Paradise?" The Nine States Immortal Realm was originally a part of the Nine States world. This place nurtured the laws of the world and was the core of the Nine States world. It was also the holy land of the Nine States world. However, for some reason, the Nine States Immortal Realm was forcefully separated from the Nine States world. It seemed like someone wanted to refine the Nine States Immortal Realm into a supreme treasure. What? Refining the paradise of the Nine States into a supreme treasure? Lin Feng was shocked. This was the first time he had heard of this. Who was it that wanted to refine the Nine States Immortal Realm into a supreme treasure? Even an immortal wouldn't be able to do such a thing. However, the Nine States Immortal Realm had already been separated from the Nine States world. That expert was unable to perfectly merge the Nine States Immortal Realm and the Nine States world. Thus, that expert made some remedial measures and used heaven-defying magic to connect the 9 states immortal realm to the 9 states world. Then, he built a teleportation channel and created a prodigy ranking tournament. Those who made it into the top 100 of the prodigy ranking would be able to enter the 9 states immortal realm to cultivate. This place used to be the holy land of the 9 states world. There's a saying that most of the 9 states immortal realm's fortuitous encounters are in the 9 states immortal realm. Lin Feng was extremely shocked when he heard the words of the green ox. The 9 states immortal realm was only a part of the 9 states world. It actually gathered most of the 9 states world's fortuitous encounters. No wonder so many people attached so much importance to the prodigy ranking. What's the situation in the 9 states immortal realm now? Lin Feng asked. There's a 9 states immortal kingdom. It's a place where cultivators from all races gather. That place is very lively. It's a place where people forget to return. After every prodigy ranking tournament, many geniuses would enter the 9 states immortal realm. In the end, they couldn't bear to leave and would stay in the 9 states immortal kingdom, the green ox said. It even formed a kingdom. Lin Feng couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. The 9 states immortal kingdom has a demonic nature. Although it's a celestial kingdom, it makes people afraid. It makes many people lose their original temperament, the green ox said meaningfully. Clearly, the green ox didn't like the 9 states immortal kingdom. Lin Feng asked the green ox many things about the 9 states immortal realm, including some things about the 9 states immortal kingdom. He now had a more direct understanding of the 9 states immortal realm. Next, he would wait for the deathly still fruit to ripen. When the time came, he would fight for the deathly still fruit. With Xiao Tiantian around, Lin Feng wasn't worried about not being able to obtain the deathly still fruit. The night was dark. In the forest, a bonfire burned. In front of the bonfire, Lin Feng and the others began to enjoy the delicious food. He cooked a table full of delicious food. Xiao Tiantian, Bibi, and the dragon rabbit ate until their mouths were covered in oil. Cough, cough. I'm hungry too, the green ox said. Lin Feng plucked a handful of grass and threw it to the green ox. Eat. Eat more. There's plenty of grass in the forest. There's enough for you. The green ox rolled its eyes and said, I don't want to eat grass. I want to eat meat. As it said that, it rushed forward and bit into a piece of roasted meat. Lin Feng was speechless. You're an ox, okay? Oxen eat grass. Since when did oxen eat meat? The green ox mumbled as it ate. Yes, I'm an ox, but I'm not an ordinary ox. I'm an ox demon. What's wrong with eating meat? After saying that, this guy wolfed down the food like a hungry ghost. 3 days later, the sound of the Tao suddenly rang out. Next, flowers fell from the sky and golden lotuses bloomed from the ground. A phenomenon. Lin Feng and the others were alarmed. A phenomenon had appeared. It was such a huge phenomenon. Was the deathly still fruit about to ripen? The green ox paced back and forth in the forest. The deathly still fruit must be about to ripen. This is great, this is great. Boom! In the northwest, a beam of immortal light shot into the sky. A sound like a great bell rang out from that direction. Then it disappeared. As for the immortal light, it also disappeared. Northwest. Let's go. If we're late, we might not get a share. Chapter 2440. Little Cow Cow, wait for us. Little Tiantian called out in a childish voice. Lin Feng took Xiao Tiantian in his arms and chased after them. Then he jumped onto the back of the Scion ox. The ox rolled its eyes. I'm not a mount. Just as it was about to protest, little Tiantian smiled and said, Little Cow Cow, hurry up. Otherwise, there won't be any more fruits. Little Tiantian's strength was terrifying. No matter how unwilling the ox was to be a mount, it didn't dare to say anything. It could only endure it for now. The ox's speed was very fast. A demonic wind swept across the land as it rushed forward. 2 hours later, it arrived at the place where the deathly still fruit had appeared. So it's here, The ox looked at a mountain range in the distance. The mountain range was formed by 4 huge peaks. An ancient tree floated in the air, surrounded by an endless aura of death. It was the deathly still tree. There were dozens of fruits on the tree. Each fruit was emitting shocking ripples. There are so many fruits. Each person can only consume 1 deathly still fruit. The second one won't have any effect. But even if you can't use it, you can sell it to others. Or trade it for precious treasures. The ox was about to charge at the deathly still tree. Hold on, said Lin Feng hastily, stopping the ox. What's wrong? Why are you stopping me? The ox asked. They had arrived at the right time. They were the first batch to arrive, so the ox couldn't wait to collect the deathly still fruit. The mountain range is not simple. There's a terrifying power lingering around it. Let's wait and see, Lin Feng said. Lin Feng had cultivated the great death art, so he was very familiar with the art of death. However, the power lingering around the mountain range was definitely not as simple as the power of death. It was much more terrifying than the power of death. Therefore, Lin Feng felt that it was best not to act rashly before he understood the strange power in the mountain range. Little Cow Cow, don't be anxious, Little Tian Tian said. The ox was depressed. Why did she keep calling me Little Cow Cow? It sounded like Nyo had died. But Big Green Cow did not dare argue with Little Tian Tian. It was fine to argue with Lin Feng because Big Green Cow was not afraid of Lin Feng. But Big Green Ox was afraid of Little Tian Tian. Whoosh! At this time, ferocious beasts flew over from afar. It was a blood mastiff that looked like a wolf, or a tiger. It was 7 to 8 meters long and looked majestic. Its gaze seemed to be able to shatter the void. A 9-headed bug that had cultivated into a spirit had taken human form, but it had 9 snake heads. It was a huge golden bat with 4 wings on its back. Lin Feng didn't know what kind of race it was. It was the first time he had seen such a creature. The 4-winged bat's cultivation was very terrifying. It emitted waves of destructive fluctuations that made people's hair stand on end. It was an 8-armed silverback spider. Its body emitted destructive fluctuations, and its body flowed with venom. Its appearance caused the air to be filled with a light brown poisonous gas. A butterfly the size of a palm. Its body was pitch black, but its eyes were silver. It was the legendary immortal ancient silver-eyed demonic butterfly. In the immemorial era, the insect race had some terrifying creatures, such as the Emperor Archaic and the immemorial ancestor insect. In the immortal ancient era, the insect race had some terrifying creatures as well, such as the immortal ancient silver-eyed demonic butterfly and the immortal ancient 8-legged poisonous insect. This was especially true for the immortal ancient silver-eyed demonic butterfly. It was abnormally strong and terrifying. And now, an immortal ancient silver-eyed demonic butterfly had appeared. Even if its bloodline couldn't be compared to the immortal ancient silver-eyed demonic butterfly, it was still terrifying enough to possess the power to destroy the heavens. Other than these terrifying creatures that had appeared, Lin Feng could sense that there were other terrifying auras lying in wait. Clearly, there were other terrifying creatures that had arrived, but they had yet to show themselves. These terrifying creatures were lingering around the mountain range. Finally, one of them couldn't hold on any longer. It rushed towards the depths. It was a creature that had been hiding in the void. It had not shown itself at first, but now it had suddenly appeared. This creature was extremely strange. Its body was silvery white in color, and it looked very much like a weasel. However, it could now be referred to as a white weasel. Of course, there were still some differences between it and a weasel. For example, this creature had 3 eyes, and there was one that was still closed between its brows. In addition, its 4 claws didn't look like the claws of a weasel. Instead, they looked more like the claws of a kirin, and its tail was like the tail of a snake. Even though this creature was strange, it was extremely fast, and it seemed to be very proficient in using the Tao of the Void. Its speed was as fast as lightning, and it quickly rushed into the mountain range. However, at this moment, something terrifying happened. The strange creature's body actually began to age. The power of time. Lin Feng's expression changed. He finally knew what other power there was apart from the power of death. The terrifying power that made his heart palpitate was actually the power of time. Time was the quickest thing to do. The power of time emanating from the mountain range was far too terrifying, and it was currently stripping away that creature's lifespan. Screech! The creature let out a series of strange screeches. These were cries of shock and horror. Anyone who had their lifespan stripped away would become terrified. That living being dashed outside at top speed, wanting to escape from the mountain range. However, it failed. Halfway through, its lifespan was completely stripped away. The power of time was simply too terrifying. After stripping away its lifespan, its corpse turned into dust. A gentle breeze blew. It was blown away by the wind. It died just like that. The pupils of the terrifying creatures contracted violently. Their expressions became extremely solemn. The power of time was simply too terrifying. If one couldn't resist the power of time, entering the mountain range would be a dead end. The big green ox's face was filled with joy. It was fortunate that they didn't go in just now. Otherwise, they would be in trouble. The surrounding terrifying creatures didn't act rashly. They were all thinking of a solution. However, it wasn't an easy task to find a feasible solution. The power of death, the power of time. Lin Feng muttered to himself. He thought of a solution, and he felt that he could give it a try. However, this would require him to take an extremely great risk. The power of time in the mountain range was simply too powerful and terrifying. Riches and honor come from danger. Lin Feng gritted his teeth. In the end, he decided to give it a try. Moreover, Lin Feng believed that if he failed, he should be able to escape from the mountain range by relying on the magic treasures he had on him and the divine abilities he had mastered. Little Tian, wait here for a while. Uncle will go and pick those immortal fruits, Lin Feng said. Little Tian quickly grabbed Lin Feng's clothes and said, Uncle Lin, don't go! It's so scary inside! Chapter 2441. Don't worry, little girl. Uncle will be fine. Lin Feng rubbed little Tian's head. Little Tian was much more mature than other children. She was now quite reliant on Lin Feng. Hearing Lin Feng's words, the little girl raised her head and said, Then Uncle must be fine. If you encounter any danger, Uncle must come out quickly. Lin Feng nodded and said, Don't worry. If I encounter any danger, Uncle will definitely come out quickly. I promise I won't stay in there any longer. After hearing Lin Feng's promise, little Tian nodded. Lin Feng walked towards the mountain range. Numerous powerful beings looked at Lin Feng with indifferent expressions. They had been waiting for an opportunity. If someone could enter and retrieve the deathly still fruit, that would be great. They would then be able to snatch it. Each of these beings was more powerful than the last. Each of them was more terrifying than the last. If there was a chance to snatch the deathly still fruit, these beings would definitely not miss it. Lin Feng entered the range of the mountain range. He did not recklessly charge into the depths of the mountain range like the white weasel. If the white weasel had also carefully entered the mountain range one step at a time, even if the power of time deprived it of its life, it would still have enough time to come out alive. However, the white weasel was too fast. It had charged directly into the depths of the mountain range. It was too late to retreat. Therefore, Lin Feng adopted another method. He would enter step by step. This way, even if he encountered danger, he would be able to escape. When Lin Feng entered the mountain range, he only felt the power of death. He did not feel the power of time. The outermost region of the mountain range should only have the power of death. There was no power of time. He walked into the depths of the mountain range. After walking for about 4 to 5 miles, the power of time began to surge. Then, the power of time began to devour Lin Feng's life. In a breath's time, Lin Feng had lost several hundred years of his life. One had to know that the power of time in the area he was in was not particularly dense. However, even in a place like this, Where the power of time was not dense, it could still strip away so much of his life in an instant. What about a place with dense power of time? How much of his lifespan would he lose? It was simply unimaginable. No wonder the white weasel had died so tragically. The white weasel had already reached the center of the four mountains, and that was where the power of time was the thickest. It would be a miracle if the white weasel could come out alive after entering that place. Lin Feng hurriedly operated his great reincarnation technique. The ancient time's rush billions of years was actually a kind of use of the power of time. Lin Feng circulated the ancient time's rush billions of years recorded in the great reincarnation art. It was formed by the power of the past. It wrapped around his body. When the power of time came, it was immediately blocked by the power of the past wrapped around Lin Feng's body. Lin Feng let out a long breath. The great samsara art was indeed miraculous. It could even resist the corrosion of the power of time. He walked in step by step. The power of time gushed over, yet it was unable to strip away Lin Feng's lifespan. When the terrifying creatures standing outside the mountain range saw this scene, their eyes flickered with all kinds of lights. Clearly, they hadn't expected Lin Feng to actually be able to resist the corrosion of time. Lin Feng walked about 5 kilometers before he sensed something amiss. The power of the past couldn't continue protecting his body. The power of time in the depths of the mountain range was completely different from the power of time in the outskirts. This was the limit of the power of the past. If he went any deeper, the power of time would devour Lin Feng. But Lin Feng was extremely unwilling to give up now. Whoosh! Lin Feng took out the 5-dragon wheel. He activated the 5-dragon wheel. Rays of immortal light surged out of the wheel and fell down, enveloping Lin Feng completely. When the power of time surged over, it was blocked by the immortal light condensed by the 5-dragon wheel. Huff! Lin Feng let out a long breath. As expected of an immortal weapon, its power was truly extraordinary. It could even resist the corrosion of time. He continued walking deeper into the mountain range, walking another 5 kilometers. Crack, crack! The defensive immortal chi formed by the 5-dragon wheel began to crack. The power of time was simply too strong. It wanted to destroy the immortal light protecting Lin Feng. Lin Feng was already prepared. The power of the past that had been condensed for billions of years surged into the immortal light of the 5-dragon wheel. After the power of the past merged with the immortal light of the 5-dragon wheel, it formed an even stronger defense. When the terrifying power of time surged over, it was blocked by the immortal light that had fused with the power of the past. Lin Feng continued walking. This time, he walked 6 kilometers. Now, Lin Feng was only about 100 meters away from the tree of deathly stillness. However, the immortal light that had merged with the power of the past also began to crack. The power of time in this place was too strong. It was so strong that it was difficult to resist. I'll go all out. Lin Feng gritted his teeth. Since he was already here, he decided to go all out. Lin Feng quickly charged toward the tree of deathly stillness. Bang! The immortal light that had merged with the power of the past shattered. Lin Feng was instantly deprived of 5 million years of his lifespan. Fortunately, he'd already reached the tree of deathly stillness. With a sweep of his hand, he swept away the dozen or so fruits. There was no way he could take the tree of deathly stillness. It was an immortal tree that was abnormally terrifying. Trying to take it away would be suicide. Lin Feng quickly returned after taking the fruits of deathly stillness. However, at that moment, a terrifying power hidden in the void slammed into Lin Feng's body. Lin Feng's body instantly stiffened, then he fell into the forest. His lifespan was being rapidly stripped away. In the blink of an eye, he'd lost another 3 million years of lifespan. It wouldn't be long before Lin Feng became a skeleton. At that moment, Lin Feng's sovereign bloodline activated on its own. Sovereign of the universe, immortal for all ages. Epochs may collapse, but my bloodline shall not be extinguished. Suddenly, a low voice rang out from the depths of Lin Feng's sovereign bloodline. It was as if the ancestral power slumbering within Lin Feng's bloodline was awakening. The power of his sovereign bloodline erupted. Lin Feng's body regained its mobility. He quickly charged outside. Once he was 100 meters away from the deepest point, he continued to activate the 5 dragon wheels, then merged the power of the past with the immortal light they'd gathered. He protected his body. In the end, Lin Feng paid the price of 13 million years of his lifespan to escape. However, Lin Feng's previous breakthroughs had pushed his lifespan to 28 million years. He still had 15 million years left. His lifespan was still extremely long. Moreover, if Lin Feng could break through to the celestial god realm, then with his bloodline and his savings, his lifespan might even reach 40 to 50 million years. Boom! 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 Chapter 2442. These powerful creatures were eyeing Lin Feng's deathly still fruit. Their eyes flashed with murderous intent. Lin Feng had already anticipated this situation. Seeing these creatures forcing their way over, Lin Feng's face was full of a sneer. With little Tiantian here, he wasn't worried that these creatures could cause any harm to him. "You're not allowed to bully little Tiantian's uncle!" Little Tiantian stood up from the back of the green ox and snorted. The little girl said with a serious expression. However, with her delicate appearance, the surrounding creatures naturally didn't feel any threat. However, little Tiantian was too powerful. As for how powerful her cultivation was, Lin Feng didn't know. These terrifying creatures naturally wouldn't care about the words of a little girl like little Tiantian. The blood mastiff was like a wolf or tiger. It roared majestically at the sky and stepped forward like an invincible demon god. Its eyes seemed to be able to pierce through the void and shatter the firmament. The 9-headed bug's aura was extremely evil. It had a human body and a snake head. It was ferocious and terrifying, like a god of death that walked out from hell. The 4-winged golden bat flapped its huge golden wings. This creature was even more terrifying. Its body emitted a destructive power as if it was born from the great Tao of destruction. With the flap of its wings, it seemed to be able to destroy all life in the world. The 8-armed silverback spider's body flowed with venom. Its speed was extremely fast, and its sharp claws could pierce through all obstacles in an instant. Moreover, its body emitted a highly toxic scent. Those with a slightly weaker cultivation would immediately die after smelling its scent. There was no need to talk about the immortal ancient silver-eyed demonic butterfly. This creature was a supreme existence among the insect race during the immortal ancient era. Its status was extremely similar to Emperor Archaics in the immemorial era. The aura of this creature made Lin Feng feel a deep sense of suffocation. Apart from these creatures, a few other creatures appeared. For example, a black-winged wolf had never appeared before, but now it took the initiative to appear. This was because the silver-winged wolf saw that Lin Feng had obtained the deathly still fruit, so it naturally wanted to compete for it. Apart from the wolf, there were 7 or 8 other terrifying creatures. The aura of every single living being was extremely terrifying, causing one's heart to tremble. Altogether, there were more than 10 terrifying creatures pouncing towards Lin Feng. If Xiao Tiantian hadn't been there, Lin Feng would have run away without a second thought. But with Xiao Tiantian here, Lin Feng looked at the creatures that were coming at him with a cold smile. Boom! These terrifying creatures launched attacks on Lin Feng. All kinds of powerful divine abilities were unleashed and bombarded towards Lin Feng. Little Tiantian is angry, Little Tiantian said angrily. Then, she quickly rushed out, waving her pink fists and smashing them one by one. Bang, 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 a series of violent collisions rang out. One terrifying creature after another was sent flying by Little Tiantian. Little Tiantian's speed was simply too fast. She shuttled back and forth between the living beings. Each punch could send a living being flying. After taking a hit from Little Tiantian, the living beings seemed to have suffered fatal injuries. Blood flowed out of their orifices, and their auras were in chaos. Many of them fell from the sky. Little Tiantian's attacks were simply too powerful. She didn't even need a second punch to beat the living beings half to death. And now, Little Tiantian was a little angry. Therefore, the strength of her punches was even stronger. Even though he knew that little Tian Tian was strong, seeing her beating a group of terrifying creatures half to death, Lin Feng couldn't help but be stunned. The big green ox's mouth twitched violently. It wailed in its heart. Just who is this little ancestor? Isn't she too terrifying? Previously, the big green ox had been defeated by little Tian Tian. It knew that little Tian Tian was strong. But at that time, little Tian Tian hadn't shown her true strength. Now that little Tian Tian had shown her true strength, it was almost scared to the ground. However, when it thought about how it was on the same side as Lin Feng and the others, it relaxed. The living beings that had been beaten half to death by little Tian Tian looked like they wanted to cry, but no tears came out. She was just a 5 or 6-year-old girl. She had been ignored by them earlier. However, who would have thought that the little girl they had ignored would be so terrifying? The group of powerful creatures simply couldn't believe their eyes. Run! The living beings soared into the sky and rushed into the distance. No matter how much they wanted to get the Death Silence fruit, they had to see if they could live to get it. Staying behind to fight for the Death Silence fruit was suicidal. In the blink of an eye, the group of terrifying living beings had all fled. Uncle Lin, little Tian Tian beat the bad guys who bullied Uncle. Little Tian Tian came to Lin Feng's side and smiled. Lin Feng picked her up and said, "What a good child." Cough, cough. Brother Lin, big brother Lin, can you give me a Death Silence fruit? The green ox asked embarrassedly. Lin Feng had obtained over a dozen Death Silence fruits, so giving one to the green ox was fine. After all, each person could only eat one. Lin Feng had one, little Tian Tian had one, Bibi had one, and the dragon rabbit had one. He still had a lot left. Moreover, he had obtained the Death Silence fruit from the green ox. He would have to rely on the green ox to leave the Death Silence forest. Of course, no problem. Eat it. Lin Feng tossed the Death Silence fruit to the green ox. Ahaha! The Death Silence fruit is mine! The ox laughed loudly and swallowed the Deathly Silence fruit. For an exotic beast like it, such a precious natural treasure could very well allow it to evolve further. Such an exotic beast. Every time it evolved, its cultivation would increase by many times. That was why the green ox was so excited. 1. Along with a violent fluctuation, it surged out. The Death Silence tree once again disappeared into a valley in the depths of the 4 mountains. The mountain range quieted down. 1,000,000 years. The next time the Death Silence tree appears, it will be 1,000,000 years later, the green ox said. Lin Feng said. 1,000,000 years is too long. We have to seize every moment. Come, bring me to a quiet place. I want to break through to the heavenly god realm first. Lin Feng carried little Tian Tian and sat on the green ox's back. The green ox soared into the sky, riding a demonic wind as it charged into the distant forest. Soon, it disappeared without a trace. Not long after they left, waves of sinister winds swept through the world. Chapter 2443. Inside the cave. Little Tian Tian, Bibi, and the dragon rabbit were all eating the deathly still fruit that Lin Feng gave them with relish. The green ox had already swallowed the deathly still fruit like how Shu Beiji ate the ginseng fruit. Now, it was lying on the ground refining the deathly still fruit. After little Tian Tian, Bibi, and the dragon rabbit finished eating, the 3 of them began to feel sleepy. They were relatively young and would not take the initiative to circulate their techniques to refine a precious treasure like the deathly still fruit. Normally, they would absorb the medicinal power of such heaven and earth treasures in their sleep. Then, they would help themselves grow. Just like now. Little Tian Tian, Bibi, and the dragon rabbit were drowsy after eating the deathly still fruit. In fact, this was a reaction of their bodies. At this time, their bodies were beginning to absorb the medicinal power of the deathly still fruit. Lin Feng put the 3 of them into the mountain river ring and let them rest inside. Then, he ate a deathly still fruit. The taste of the deathly still fruit could only be said to be average. It was not very fresh. It was also not very delicious. But the key was that the effect was good. It could help him improve his cultivation. Lin Feng began to refine the deathly still fruit's medicinal power. Among the 5 people who had eaten the deathly still fruit, the dragon rabbit was the first to wake up. The little guy had undergone a very strange change. Not only had its bloodline improved, but its abilities had also improved greatly. Especially the dragon rabbit's eyes, there were rays of golden light, and its dragon horns had also grown a lot. After all, the dragon rabbit was still young, so when it woke up and found that its dragon horns had grown a lot, it used its little claws to touch its dragon horns and then squeaked. Of course, Lin Feng did not know that the dragon rabbit had already woken up because he was still cultivating. The second to complete the transformation was the green ox. The green ox's transformation this time was an extremely important one, so its transformation attracted the lightning tribulation. Above the 9 heavens, dark clouds covered the sky as lightning flashed and thunder rumbled. Waves of terrifying fluctuations swept through the world, surging in all directions and emitting a suffocating aura. The lightning dragons and snakes slithered about as the big green yak soared into the sky and began to face the tribulation. Hundreds of lightning bolts struck down, and the big green yak was covered in wounds. It almost died on the spot. But in the end, the big green ox overcame the terrifying lightning tribulation that descended from the sky and successfully passed through this tribulation. After successfully transcending the tribulation, the aura of the green ox was very weak and dispirited. However, the level of its life had improved by a large margin, and the demonic energy in its body had become even stronger and purer. The transformation this time allowed the green ox's cultivation to increase a lot, so it was very excited. Lin Feng soon woke up as well. Streaks of heavenly tribulation aura appeared between his eyebrows. The light of calamity soared into the sky. Above the 9 heavens, thunderclouds surged. The terrifying lightning tribulation began to brew. Lin Feng was about to begin his tribulation. Each time Lin Feng underwent a tribulation, the tribulation was extremely terrifying. For example, when Lin Feng broke through to the true divinity realm, the tribulation he underwent was a minor reincarnation tribulation. There were a total of 1,508 lightning strikes. One had to know that many boundary emperors only underwent minor reincarnation tribulations. Lin Feng had only broken through to the true divinity realm, but he had already drawn down a minor reincarnation tribulation. How incredible was that? Now, Lin Feng was about to break through to the heavenly god realm. No one knew what kind of terrifying lightning tribulation he would attract. Swoosh! Lin Feng quickly flew out. He hovered in midair. The big green ox was watching Lin Feng's tribulation from a mountain peak in the distance. Sensing the terrifying aura of the lightning tribulation above the 9 heavens, the big green ox's heart was in turmoil. What kind of tribulation is this guy going to undergo? The big green ox's heart was trembling. Boom! 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 Very quickly, Kulpa thunders bombarded Lin Feng. Lin Feng stood in the air and let the Kulpa thunder strike him. Lin Feng had long been used to undergoing tribulations. Moreover, he had mastered the 3,000 Great Tao Calamity technique, the Great Thunderclap technique, which specialized in countering lightning tribulations. Therefore, it was too easy for Lin Feng to undergo tribulations. Unless there was some extremely terrifying tribulation, such as the tribulation of man, immortal, or death, it would be difficult for ordinary lightning tribulations to hurt Lin Feng. The Kulpa lightning bombarded Lin Feng's body. Lin Feng began to absorb the lightning tribulation energy to temper his body. For others, lightning tribulation was the most deadly type of heavenly punishment. The slightest carelessness could lead to death. However, for Lin Feng, lightning tribulation was one of the most important methods to increase his cultivation. The lightning tribulation energy could not only increase the power of Lin Feng's Great Calamity art and Great Thunderclap art. It could also temper Lin Feng's body. It could even help Lin Feng cultivate the 8-9 arcane art. The terrifying destructive energy contained in the lightning tribulation was one of the best energies for cultivating the 8-9 arcane art. More and more Kulpa thunders bombarded Lin Feng's body. Lin Feng began to absorb the lightning tribulation energy. His body became stronger and stronger under the tempering of the lightning tribulation energy. After the Great Calamity Art and Great Thunderclap Art absorbed a large amount of lightning tribulation energy, they also began to transform. This was a deep-level transformation. The Great Calamity Art was ranked 8th among the 3,000 Great Tao. It was extremely difficult to improve it. Usually, it was almost impossible to evolve it. He could only find some opportunities to evolve the Great Disaster Technique, and transcending the tribulation was an excellent opportunity. Lin Feng's Great Calamity Art was now at the realm of great success. If the Great Calamity Art could reach the realm of great perfection during this tribulation, Lin Feng would be satisfied. These 3,000 Great Tao were relatively special because many of the 3,000 Great Tao recorded some powerful divine abilities. Cultivators needed to comprehend the 3,000 Great Tao and cultivate the 3,000 Great Tao to a profound level before they could obtain the powerful divine abilities recorded in the 3,000 Great Tao. It was much easier to improve the Great Thunderclap Art than the Great Calamity Art. Lin Feng's Great Thunderclap Art was now at the realm of great success. Lin Feng hoped that the Great Thunderclap Art could reach the realm of great perfection after this tribulation. Lin Feng's body was now at the pinnacle of the giant god realm. If nothing unexpected happened, it would not be a problem for his body to reach the boundary emperor realm after this breakthrough. Lin Feng's soul power was at the 9th layer of the giant god realm. This breakthrough would greatly increase his soul power. It would not be a problem for him to reach the boundary emperor realm. Boom! 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 One after another, bolts of tribulation lightning struck down. A total of 1,508 bolts of lightning struck down, and it showed no signs of stopping. Even more powerful bolts of lightning formed and continued to strike down on Lin Feng. Heavens, the minor reincarnation tribulation is only 1,508 bolts of lightning. The number of bolts of lightning this guy has already surpassed the minor reincarnation tribulation. How many bolts of lightning is he going to undergo? Chapter 2444. There were many types of tribulations for cultivators, and each type of tribulation was different. But among the more famous ones, there was a type of tribulation called Major Reincarnation Tribulation. There were a total of 3,275 major reincarnation tribulations. This type of tribulation had another nickname: Minor Emperor's Tribulation. The Emperor's Tribulation was a tribulation that only great emperors would undergo. Although the Minor Emperor's Tribulation was not a real Emperor's Tribulation, its name showed how terrifying this tribulation was. It was not far from the Emperor's Tribulation. Generally, only those outstanding figures had the chance to attract such a tribulation. And it was said that the earlier one underwent the Major Reincarnation Tribulation, the greater their talent and the greater their future achievements. For example, the Major Reincarnation Tribulation when one broke through to the Heavenly God realm was obviously different from when one broke through to the Giant God realm. Cultivators who broke through to the Heavenly God realm would have greater talent and limitless future prospects after undergoing the Major Reincarnation Tribulation. There was a rumor that when the Red World Fairy broke through to the Void God realm, she attracted the Major Reincarnation Tribulation. At that time, it could be said that the entire 9 provinces was shocked. It should be known that many heaven-defying geniuses who broke through to the Boundary Emperor realm might not be able to attract the Major Reincarnation Tribulation, but the Red World Fairy attracted the Major Reincarnation Tribulation when she broke through to the Void God realm. The Red World Fairy's talent. How could it be described? Of course, there was a huge difference between Lin Feng and the Celestial Master Hongchen. Because at that time, the Red World Fairy had already cultivated 2,999 types of 3,000 Great Tao. As for other remarkable abilities, such as some immortal techniques, Emperor techniques, or other remarkable abilities, the Red World Fairy had cultivated countless types. This might be the reason why the Red World Fairy attracted the Major Reincarnation Tribulation when she broke through to the Void God realm. This was also the reason why the Red World Fairy was so powerful. Lin Feng did not know what cultivation level the Red World Fairy was at. But Lin Feng knew that the Red World Fairy was known as the strongest expert in the 9 provinces Great World. Now, someone told Lin Feng that the Red World Fairy was a great Emperor Realm expert. Lin Feng was not surprised. The terror of the Great Samsara Tribulation gradually began to show itself. As one lightning tribulation after another descended, Lin Feng could no longer deal with the various lightning tribulations with ease. He needed to use the Great Calamity Technique and the Great Thunderclap Technique to resist the lightning tribulation. Lin Feng had absorbed enough of the power of the Thunder Tribulation, and he found that his 8-9 mysterious art had made progress. Lin Feng's 8-9 mysteries had reached the 3rd layer. Breaking through from the 3rd stage to the 4th stage was naturally fraught with difficulties. It wasn't that easy to break through. This required a gradual process of accumulation. The Great Calamity Art and the Great Thunderclap Art were simply too useful against the lightning tribulation. Over 2,800 bolts of tribulation lightning struck down consecutively, but none of them did any harm to Lin Feng. Pervert, truly perverted! In the distance, the Azure Ox could not help but wail. It had never seen a monster at Lin Feng's level. Lin Feng's cultivation level was not particularly high, but the fact that he had attracted a great samsara tribulation was already enough to shock the Azure Ox. More importantly, Lin Feng had attracted a total of 2,800 bolts of tribulation lightning, but none of them had done any harm to Lin Feng. This was simply too inconceivable. How much power did he have to accumulate to be able to deal with those terrifying bolts of tribulation lightning so easily? If this guy doesn't die prematurely, he'll definitely become an emperor in the future. If he's lucky enough, he might even become an immortal, the Azure Ox could not help but think. The powerful lightning tribulation continued to bombard Lin Feng. The lightning tribulation's power distorted time and space, shattered heaven and earth, and caused one's soul to tremble. Only Lin Feng could calmly face such a terrifying tribulation. The lightning tribulation after 2,800 bolts of tribulation lightning was even more powerful. Every new bolt of tribulation lightning. It was many times stronger than the previous ones. After 3,000 bolts of tribulation lightning, the Great Calamity Art and the Great Thunderclap Art gradually became unable to completely resist the power of the tribulation lightning. When the 3,100th bolt of tribulation lightning arrived, Lin Feng began to suffer damage from the tribulation lightning. The Great Calamity Art could only help a cultivator resist the lightning tribulation, but it was not completely immune. Lin Feng knew this very well. There was nothing in the world that could be said to be absolute. Lin Feng had used the Great Thunderclap Art and the Great Calamity Art, 2 of the 3,000 Great Das, to resist so many bolts of tribulation lightning. He was already very satisfied. Of course, Lin Feng also knew that if it were someone else, they would very likely be able to successfully overcome their tribulation using the Great Calamity Art or the Great Thunderclap Art. However, his tribulation was too terrifying, so the Great Calamity Art and the Great Thunderclap Art could not completely resist his tribulation lightning. However, he quickly collected his thoughts and began to resist the next lightning tribulation. The further he went, the more terrifying the lightning tribulation became. The later lightning tribulations already contained the power of order laws. These lightning tribulations that contained the power of order laws were extremely terrifying. Lin Feng's body exploded time and time again, dripping with blood and bones. It was extremely miserable. However, Lin Feng persevered every time. He continuously devoured the power of tribulation lightning. After narrowly escaping death time and time again, Lin Feng's Great Thunderclap Art and Great Calamity Art achieved a breakthrough. What made Lin Feng the happiest was the transformation of the bloodline in his body. Lin Feng's immortal god blood had already reached 40% of the blood in his body. As for the sovereign emperor blood, it had also reached 30%. Lin Feng's great imperial blood had increased from 25% to 30%. His godly immortal blood had increased from 33% to 7%. His godly immortal blood had increased from 33 to 40%. Now, Lin Feng had to work hard to make the immortal god blood and sovereign emperor blood occupy about 50% of his body. This way, he could form a yin-yang cycle. Everything in the world was divided into yin and yang. The most powerful bloodline was the twin bloodline. Of course, the prerequisite was that the twin bloodline had reached the yin-yang cycle. The second most powerful bloodline was the pure bloodline. The third most powerful bloodline was a special bloodline that had awakened more than 50%. The fourth type was a special bloodline that had awakened less than 50%. The fifth type was a normal bloodline. His bloodline had greatly improved. The Great Thunderclap Art and Great Calamity Art had also completed their respective evolutions. Lin Feng felt the pressure on him decrease sharply. When the lightning tribulation struck down again, Yi Zichen's eyes lit up. Lin Feng was able to face these lightning tribulations more calmly. Finally, Lin Feng had successfully passed the 3,275th bolt of Culpa lightning. The huge lightning clouds that covered the world gradually dispersed. The lightning tribulations gradually dissipated. As for Lin Feng's cultivation, he had successfully broken through to the heavenly god realm. Waves of majestic magic power began to surge within Lin Feng's body. Rumble. Chapter 2445. A bonfire burned brightly in the forest. Many delicacies were already laid out on the table. Xiao Tiantian, Bibi, and the dragon rabbit were all wolfing down the food while Lin Feng continued to cook other delicacies to feed the three little fellows. They were already outside the deathly silent forest. The big green ox brought Lin Feng and the other two out, and then disappeared without a trace. Clearly, the big green ox didn't want to continue staying with Lin Feng and the others. After coming out, Lin Feng found a place with beautiful scenery, set up a bonfire, and began to cook. Cultivation and eating were two completely compatible things. Some people were worried that eating too much would accumulate impurities in their bodies and delay their cultivation. Therefore, those people would rather eat some fasting pills than eat. Of course, those with better conditions could eat all kinds of spirit fruits to satisfy their hunger. But Lin Feng didn't want to do that. He was a casual person and also a foodie. In life, one should eat when they should. One mustn't let oneself suffer. Cultivation was important. But to Lin Feng, enjoying the process of cultivation was more important. If there were impurities in the body, he just had to find a way to refine them. Lin Feng's carefree attitude wouldn't be recognized by everyone, but Lin Feng didn't care about what others thought. After cooking all the delicacies, Lin Feng also found a place to sit down and enjoy the food while drinking. Moreover, it was in such a beautiful place. It was really a unique flavor. After eating and drinking, Xiao Tiantian, Bibi, and the dragon rabbit played in the forest. Lin Feng began to plan for the next step. Next, should he continue to search for opportunities in the forest, or go to the 9 continents immortal country to take a look? After thinking about it, Lin Feng decided to go to the 9 continents immortal country to take a look. He was very interested in the mysterious country formed in the 9 continents immortal realm. Moreover, the 9 continents immortal country was a place worth Lin Feng to take a look. Of course, many things might happen along the way. If something unexpected happened, or if they encountered some opportunity, they might be delayed. It was very likely that he wouldn't be able to go to the 9 states immortal kingdom. Lin Feng had already asked the big green ox about the direction of the 9 states immortal kingdom, so he knew where it was. On this day, Lin Feng suddenly felt a cold wind blowing in the forest. Then, a sharp, ear-piercing shriek came from afar, and the ghostly aura seemed to cover the sky. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown slightly, as if something had happened. He, little Tian, Bibi, and Dragon Rabbit rushed over. In the distance, a mountain peak was split open, and there were dozens of dried corpses lying on the ground. A ghost wearing a long black robe and shrouded in ghostly aura was looking in their direction. This was an extremely terrifying creature, and the aura it emitted was simply suffocating. Lin Feng guessed that an evil spirit that was sealed here was released by those people. However, this evil spirit was simply too powerful, and so it was killed by the evil spirit. The evil spirit also saw Lin Feng and the others, and quickly flew toward Lin Feng's group. "What delicious flesh and blood!" I'm going to eat you all! The evil spirit let out a sinister roar. It opened its claws and was about to grab Lin Feng, Little Tian Tian, Bibi, and Dragon Rabbit. Lin Feng looked at the evil spirit with a serious expression. The Netherworld Envoy rune on his forehead flowed with strange energy. This was the energy of the Netherworld. It was enough to intimidate any spirit or ghost. Lin Feng had seen some half-emperor level experts before, but he felt that the evil spirit in front of him was not something those half-emperors could compare to. Lin Feng even suspected that this evil spirit was a ghost emperor. So, he activated the Netherworld Envoy rune without hesitation. Netherworld Envoy? The evil spirit stopped and frowned slightly. Lin Feng's identity as a Netherworld Envoy seemed to be very troublesome. It seemed to feel that it was a little troublesome. Ghost Emperor? Lin Feng raised his eyebrows and asked. How did an ignorant fellow become a Netherworld Envoy? The evil spirit pursed its lips. Since you are a Netherworld Envoy, I'll spare your life. After acting tough, the evil spirit flew into the distance. Damn, don't run if you have the guts. How dare you act tough in front of me? Do you believe that I won't kill you? Lin Feng cursed loudly. However, the evil spirit did not appear again. Demon Lord, is that guy really a ghost emperor? Lin Feng transmitted his voice to the Demon Lord. No, he's a peak boundary emperor, the Demon Lord said. But his aura is too terrifying. It's not something the boundary emperors I've seen before can compare to. Lin Feng voiced his doubts. He had always treated the Boundary Emperor realm as a transitional realm between the Giant God realm and the Great Emperor realm. Since it was a transitional realm, there might be a difference in strength. However, it shouldn't be too far apart. That evil spirit gave Lin Feng the feeling that he was facing a Ghost Emperor, not a Boundary Emperor. The Demon Lord asked. Do you know how the Boundary Emperor realm is divided? Lin Feng asked. It's the transitional realm between the Giant God realm and the Great Emperor realm, right? No. Of course not, the Demon Lord said. The Boundary Emperor realm. This realm is very special. Why is it so difficult to prove one's Tao and become an emperor? Many people are stuck at the Boundary Emperor realm because it's too difficult to break through. The Boundary Emperor realm requires one to sense the Tao platforms in the unseen world. If you want to become an emperor, you have to ascend these Tao pillars. It's not easy, especially when you have to ascend to the 99th Tao pillar. You have to stand on the 99th Tao pillar to touch the emperor realm. Only then can you be considered to have succeeded, the Demon Lord said. Ascend to the 99th Tao platform? Lin Feng's expression changed. The Boundary Emperor realm had 99 Tao platforms. Didn't that mean that the strength of each Tao platform was different? If that was the case, it was easy to understand why that evil spirit was so terrifying. A peak boundary emperor was probably extremely close to a great emperor. Ascend to the Tao platform, sing the emperor's song, condense the emperor's law, and create the emperor's law. The Tao platform's immortal bell shakes the 9 heavens. Proving one's Tao and becoming an emperor gazes at the divine river. The path to immortality is vast and boundless. The path to immortality. The Demon Lord suddenly sighed. The path to immortality is long. Even if one becomes an emperor, it's only the beginning. Since ancient times, there have been far too few emperors, let alone immortals. The Boundary Emperor realm is just a new starting point. Right now, the world you see is still too small, too small. The Demon Lord couldn't help but sigh. He didn't say anything else. Lin Feng's heart couldn't calm down for a long time. The Demon Lord had been a great emperor in the past, after all. He must have seen the world. But now, his cultivation was still too low. Lin Feng couldn't help but clench his fists. He inwardly warned himself that he had to quickly increase his cultivation level and wait until he rescued his mother. After saving his mother, he had to go out and see the outside world. The Four Directions universe. A foreign world. The door of everlasting life. A path of space-time. Chapter 2446. Lin Feng, Little Tian Tian, Bibi, and the dragon rabbit continued flying towards the direction of the 9 states and Mortal Kingdom. Along the way, they saw quite a number of powerful beasts roaming about in the forests. The dragon rabbit unleashed its powerful abilities. It found a few ancient caves that were sealed with seals. Lin Feng broke through the seals and obtained many cultivation resources, natural treasures, and so on. Along the way, Lin Feng and the others stopped from time to time. They did not rush with all their might. Instead, they searched for opportunities as they traveled. This afternoon, Lin Feng rested beside a small stream while Little Tian Tian, Bibi, and the dragon rabbit played in the forest. Boom! A terrifying shockwave came from afar, sweeping through the world and shaking the void. Sensing the terrifying shockwave, Lin Feng stood up hurriedly. He saw the 3 little fellas flying up into the air. The dragon rabbit must have found another ancient cultivator's cave. Lin Feng flew over and found a gigantic cave. Initially, there was a gigantic boulder that was 1,000 meters tall blocking the entrance of the cave. It looked very ordinary, without anything special about it. However, the dragon rabbit discovered the secret of this place. That was because it could sense treasures. Therefore, the dragon rabbit discovered that there seemed to be treasures within the boulder. Little Tian Tian was very interested in treasure hunting. She used her tender little fists to smash the boulder into smithereens. Then, a pitch-black cave appeared. Looking at the cave, Lin Feng could not help but frown. There was a sinister aura emanating from the depths of the cave. He did not know what was inside. Squeak, 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 squeak. The dragon rabbit bared its fangs and waved its claws. You're saying that there are treasures inside? Lin Feng looked at the dragon rabbit and asked. The dragon rabbit nodded its head hurriedly. There was no way the dragon rabbit could be wrong. Since the dragon rabbit said that there were treasures inside, Lin Feng decided to enter and explore to see just what kind of treasures there were. Lin Feng took the lead. Little Tian Tian, Bibi, and the dragon rabbit followed behind him. Under Lin Feng's lead, the group began to walk into the depths of the cave. This cave was very deep. Inside the cave, there was a cold and terrifying aura. This aura was simply suffocating. Uncle Lin, there won't be any evil spirits inside, right? Tian 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 thought of the powerful evil spirit they met earlier and could not help but ask. Although her cultivation was strong, she was still too young. After encountering the evil ghosts, she was so scared that her little face turned as white as paper. Said Lin Feng. Don't worry. Even if there are evil spirits, we will destroy them. With Uncle Lin here, I'm not afraid. Tian 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 said. Yeah? Squeak! Bei also cried out. Then, he raised his head, looking as if he wasn't afraid at all. It was quite funny. Creak! Creak! Squeak to Tian 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 Tian. Bei Lin Feng's Dao Dao continued. It took them a long time to reach the deepest part of the cave. At the deepest part of the passageway, the belly of a huge mountain appeared. After seeing the belly of the mountain, Xiao Tian Tian, Bei, and Dragon Rabbit quickly rushed in. The 3 little fellows seemed to have lost their fear in an instant. It was as if they had discovered a new continent. They wanted to explore this new mountain before Lin Feng. There were 4 huge drawings on the walls of the mountain. The 4 drawings were 4 huge yin-yang Dao diagrams. The 4 yin-yang Dao diagrams resonated with each other. The 4 yin-yang Dao diagrams were not simple. The arrangement was very complicated. Lin Feng took a closer look and felt a wave of dizziness in his head. The cultivator who arranged the 4 yin-yang Dao diagrams was extremely powerful. His attainments in array formations had also reached an unfathomable level. Squeak! 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 Bibi pointed at a pitch-black rock. Lin Feng's attention was drawn over. He also looked at the pitch-black rock. The rock emitted a cold aura. Lin Feng touched it and found that it was extremely cold. Are these dragon patterns? Lin Feng was astonished when he saw the godly marks on the stone. The divine patterns emitted a mysterious power. Upon closer inspection, the divine patterns were like giant dragons baring their fangs and brandishing their claws. Is this black dragon stone? It's an extremely rare forging material. I didn't expect to find a black dragon tattoo stone here. It's not a small harvest. If you can integrate this black dragon tattoo stone into your life source magic weapon, the power of your life source magic weapon, Primal Chaos Ancient Lamp, should be greatly enhanced. The Demon Lord said. Oh? This black dragon stone is so extraordinary? Lin Feng was shocked. Then, his face lit up with joy. He put away the black dragon tattoo stone and looked around the mountain again. He found that there was nothing else he could take away from the mountain besides the black dragon tattoo stone. Lin Feng, Tian Bibi, and the dragon rabbit left the mountain. Not long after Lin Feng and the others left, the 4 yin-yang Dao diagrams suddenly began to ripple violently. Swoosh! 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 The 4 yin-yang Dao diagrams each shot out a beam of light, then the 4 beams of light converged together. A massive Dao diagram of the void appeared. The void Dao diagram seemed to be connected to a mysterious space. My treasure. That's my treasure. Whoever dares to take my treasure will die. As the voice faded away, waves of violent ripples suddenly surged out of the void Dao diagram. Pfft. Next, something seemed to burrow out of the void Dao diagram. It was shrouded in a ball of darkness, but it was unknown what it was. The pitch-black thing quickly flew outside, disappearing in the blink of an eye. After obtaining the black dragon stone, Lin Feng found a place to go into seclusion and refine his Primal Chaos Ancient Lamp. With the black dragon stone, the Primal Chaos Ancient Lamp's power would be greatly enhanced. For the time being, Lin Feng sent Tian Bibi and the dragon rabbit into his mountain and river ring. The 3 of them couldn't stay in the cave, so he sent them to play. The mountain and river ring was big enough for them to do whatever they wanted. Lin Feng took out the primordial demon cauldron and tossed the black dragon stone inside. Next, Lin Feng began to dissolve the black dragon stone. Chapter 2447. Lin Feng still did not have the time to deal with the ghostly emperor. The ghostly emperor's cultivation was extremely terrifying. Therefore, it would not be easy to subdue him. Of course, Lin Feng was now an underworld envoy, and Lin Feng had broken through to the heavenly god realm. Therefore, it should be much easier to subdue the ghostly emperor. After hearing the ghostly emperor's words, Lin Feng raised his brows and said, "What? Do you know the origin of this black dragon engraving stone?" The ghostly emperor said, "Of course I know. This black dragon engraving stone is different from ordinary black dragon engraving stones. It cannot be refined casually. Why don't we work together? You can return my freedom, and I can tell you everything you want to know," Lin Feng said with an indifferent expression. "Are you bargaining with me? Ghostly Emperor, you should know that you are now a prisoner. With my ability, killing you is not difficult. I did not kill you because I want you to acknowledge me as your master. This is because I cherish talents. If you do not know how to appreciate my kindness, I will have no choice but to kill you," the ghostly emperor said in a straightforward manner. "Kill me? Do you think I will be afraid? At most I will die. What's the big deal? I am not someone who is afraid of death. I would rather die than be ordered around by others." The ghostly emperor was very stubborn. Lin Feng did not have the time to waste with the ghostly emperor. Therefore, he could not be bothered to say anything more to the ghostly emperor. Lin Feng took out the heavenly fire. He began to refine the black dragon engraving stone. The ghostly emperor continued, "If you don't listen to my advice, you will suffer greatly." Lin Feng still did not respond to the ghostly emperor. The ghostly emperor continued, "Cooperation is mutually beneficial. Can't you understand such a simple principle?" Lin Feng still did not respond to the ghostly emperor. At this moment, the ghost emperor was already flustered and exasperated. He roared, "Brat, you're done for. Let me tell you, you're done for. How dare you refine this black dragon patterned stone? Even 10 of you won't be enough to kill you," said Lin Feng, smiling coldly. If you have something to say, say it. If you don't want to say it, then shut the hell up. If you don't shut the hell up, when I finish refining the black dragon stones, I'll torture you until you wish you were dead. You win. The Ghost Emperor said viciously. Lin Feng continued to refine the black dragon vein stone. The black dragon vein stone began to melt. As the black dragon tattoo stone melted, Lin Feng discovered that something was wrong. The black dragon vein stone seemed to contain some blood-colored energy. Upon closer inspection, the blood-colored energy was actually not energy, but streaks of blood. What is this? Lin Feng was surprised, and then he frowned. How could there be traces of blood in the black dragon stone? Then, something even stranger happened. Dense blood vessels appeared. The blood vessels gathered together and turned into a small blob of purple blood. Bam! The blob of purple blood emitted a powerful energy wave. The energy wave swept across Lin Feng's body. Then, Lin Feng was sent flying. Wah! Lin Feng suffered a heavy blow, and he spat out a mouthful of blood. The blob of purple blood was too terrifying. It actually injured Lin Feng. The blob of purple blood flew toward Lin Feng, and then it emitted a strange energy that enveloped Lin Feng. Suddenly, Lin Feng felt his body become hotter and hotter. He felt as if his body was being refined into pure energy. The blob of purple blood was actually trying to refine him. Lin Feng was extremely shocked. His expression immediately turned ugly. Lin Feng controlled the heavenly fire, wanting to burn the blob of purple blood into ashes. However, he was shocked to find that the heavenly fire could not burn the blob of purple blood. The blob of purple blood was extremely terrifying. The heavenly fire could not hurt it at all. The Ghost Emperor gloated. I warned you, but you didn't listen. Now that you are unlucky, just wait for your death. Lin Feng sneered. If I really die, I will definitely kill you before I die. Humph! The Ghost Emperor snorted. Lin Feng hastily released his immortal godly blood and ruler's imperial blood to resist the purple blood. Ghost Emperor, I'm going to destroy you now. If you don't want to die, tell me where that purple blood came from. If you don't tell me, I'll kill you, said Lin Feng, releasing his immortal godly blood and ruler's imperial blood. The Ghost Emperor said, So what if I tell you? Do you think you can fight against this blob of purple blood? Stop talking nonsense and tell me, Lin Feng said coldly. The heavenly fire surged into the ghost-raising jar, wanting to kill the Ghost Emperor at any time. The Ghost Emperor's face turned gloomy. Although he was not afraid of death, he was not willing to die if he could live. Since the blob of purple blood had already been released, there was no harm in telling him the origin of the blob of purple blood. This kid would definitely not be able to fight against the blob of purple blood. At that thought, the Ghost Emperor's face turned slightly better. The Ghost Emperor said, This blob of purple blood is the blood of an ancestral fiend. What? The blood of an ancestral fiend? Lin Feng was shocked. An existence that could be called an ancestral fiend was an existence on the same level as the 3 sovereigns and 5 emperors. It was definitely extremely ancient. Furthermore, every ancestral fiend had an incredible origin. The strength of every ancestral fiend was also unimaginably terrifying. The blob of purple blood was actually the blood of an ancestral fiend. That was a little terrifying. Why would the blood of an ancestral fiend appear on this black dragon patterned stone? Lin Feng continued asking. The Ghost Emperor said, Legend has it that when an ancestral fiend fell, his blood dyed the entire ocean red. This black dragon patterned stone absorbed the ancestral fiend's blood essence. Therefore, this blob of purple blood is not only the blood of an ancestral fiend, but also the most precious blood essence of an ancestral fiend. Because this black dragon patterned stone has been stained with the ancestral fiend's blood essence, its effects are incomparable to ordinary black dragon patterned stones. If you use this black dragon patterned stone to forge a magic treasure, you can even forge the embryonic form of an immortal artifact. In the future, as you continue to improve, you can easily transform into an immortal artifact. Of course, the prerequisite is that you can subdue the ancestral fiend's blood essence. You have to completely fuse the ancestral fiend's blood essence with the magic treasure. But clearly, you can't fight against the ancestral fiend's blood essence. If you had cooperated with me earlier, you wouldn't have released the ancestral fiend's blood essence. Although you can't refine the black dragon pattern stone, at the very least, you wouldn't have ended up like this. But now, it's too late. The ancestral fiend's blood essence has been released, and only death awaits you. Clearly, in the Ghost Emperor's opinion, Lin Feng could not fight against the ancestral fiend's blood essence. Against the attack of the ancestral fiend's blood essence, Lin Feng was doomed. Chapter 2448. The blood-colored vortex formed by the ancestral fiend's blood essence was terrifying to the extreme. It wanted to devour Lin Feng. Lin Feng did not dare to be careless in the face of the blood-colored vortex's devouring. He circulated the archaic dragonesque elephant art to resist the blood-colored vortex's devouring, but to no avail. Next, Lin Feng circulated his epic hegemony, but he still could not resist the blood-colored vortex's devouring. The blood-colored vortex was just too powerful. It was so powerful that it shocked Lin Feng to the point where he could not resist. Of course, from a certain perspective, it was not because the blood-colored vortex was too powerful. It was because the ancestral fiend's blood essence was too powerful. The blood essence left behind by the ancestral fiend that could fight against the 3 sovereigns and 5 emperors was too terrifying. Could it be that I have to use my supreme hegemony? Lin Feng could not help but ponder. Just as this thought appeared, something strange happened. The ancestral fiend's blood essence seemed to know Lin Feng's thoughts. Therefore, just as Lin Feng had the thought of using his supreme hegemony, blood-colored chains formed from the blood-colored vortex. The blood-colored chains directly wrapped around Lin Feng's body. When Lin Feng wanted to struggle, he was shocked to find that his dermic powers had been sealed. The blood-colored chains were extremely strange. They could seal a cultivator's dermic powers. Now that Lin Feng could not move or circulate his dermic powers, he naturally could not circulate his hegemony. That was because using hegemony required a huge amount of dermic powers to support it. Dermic powers were the foundation of a cultivator's various powerful ultimate moves. Therefore, when a cultivator lost his dermic powers, it was as if he had become a cripple. This is troublesome. Lin Feng's face turned extremely ugly. He felt as if his body was about to be dissolved. The blood flowing in his body was also about to be dissolved. He was about to be dissolved into the purest energy before being devoured by the blood-colored vortex. It was a terrible feeling. It was just a ball of ancestral fiend's blood essence, but it was so powerful that Lin Feng was deeply shocked. He really did not know what level the ancestral fiend was at back then. Could it be an immortal? He was able to contend against the 3 sovereigns and 5 emperors. There was a high chance that it was an immortal. Lin Feng felt his consciousness gradually blurring. He had encountered a huge problem. The ancestral fiend blood essence was unable to withstand it. Lin Feng's fate seemed to have been decided. It was a blur. Lin Feng felt that he was about to die. At this time, his immortal bloodline activated on its own, and a powerful immortal power was awakened. It was constantly repairing his body. The power of the ancestral fiend blood essence wanted to refine Lin Feng into the purest form of energy. The power of the immortal god blood was constantly repairing Lin Feng's body. To resist the ancestral fiend's blood essence. The 2 forces were in a stalemate. Suddenly, the ancestral fiend blood essence emitted streams of fiendish power that surged towards Lin Feng. That demonic power was very terrifying. It wanted to destroy Lin Feng's body. At the same time, an ancient power in Lin Feng's bloodline began to awaken. An illusory world appeared, and a man walked out from the depths of that illusory world. The man was dressed in white. He looked very handsome, and his eyes were as bright as the stars. This was the power slumbering in the bloodline, the power that originated from the ancestor. "Junior, how impudent!" Suddenly, a deep voice sounded from the ancestral fiend blood essence. It was the ancestral fiend's inextinguishable will that had fused into the ancestral fiend blood essence. The reason why the ancestral fiend blood essence was so terrifying and had such strong offensive power was because of the will. It was all too normal for Lin Feng to find it difficult to resist the will of an ancestral fiend. With his current cultivation level, it would be strange if he could resist the will of an ancestral fiend. The ancestral fiends will berated the figure in Lin Feng's bloodline by calling him a junior. Clearly, it held great disdain for the ancestor, Lin Feng. Lin Feng's figure didn't say a word. He walked over step by step, and the world seemed to fall silent. The entire world fell silent. The cave where Lin Feng had been in seclusion instantly transformed into a vast and boundless world. Lin Feng and the ancestral fiend blood essence had arrived in another world. They had arrived at the world that the cave had become. It was vast and boundless, with no end in sight. It was a world created by the memories that Lin Feng's ancestor had left in Lin Feng's bloodline. This was the power slumbering in the bloodline. It was very difficult to use this power. Normally, one would have to undergo a deep bloodline awakening. Only after the awakening was successful could a cultivator use this terrifying power. There was another situation where the power slumbering in the bloodline could be awakened. For example, when one encountered danger, there was an extremely small chance that the power would awaken. It was the same situation that Lin Feng was currently in. This awakening method was short-lived and couldn't be sustained. Furthermore, it was passive. When the power of the ancestor awakened, the cultivator couldn't use it, but it could actively protect the bloodline possessor. All dharma shall fall silent, the heavenly Tao shall collapse, the sun and moon shall sink, and the universe shall change. As long as my body is not destroyed, my heart will not die. Even if the epic repeats itself, I can still reverse the tribulation and return. Lin Feng's mysterious ancestor said an extremely profound sentence. Following that, he took a step forward and walked towards the ancestral fiend blood essence. The ancestral fiend blood essence distorted and transformed into a bloody figure. What tricks are you playing? A mere junior dares to be so impudent in front of me? You're courting death. The bloody figure formed from the ancestral fiend blood essence charged towards Lin Feng's ancestor. There's a hierarchy in the Tao, but cultivation depends on one's own fortune. Lin Feng's ancestor muttered to himself. Boom! Soon, the two existences engaged in a fierce battle. The two sides had only exchanged 3 blows. Lin Feng's ancestor condensed a mysterious rune and sent it into the bloody figure formed from the ancestral fiend blood essence. The bloody figure formed from the ancestral fiend blood essence began to crumble. No, no, no! How is this possible? You're actually... The bloody figure formed from the ancestral fiend blood essence shrieked in horror. He seemed to have discovered a great secret from the mysterious rune. That secret. His face drained of color, and he found it hard to believe. The bloody figure wanted to reveal the secret, but Lin Feng's ancestor didn't give him the chance. Your physical body is dead, and your soul is destroyed. Since your body is dead and your Tao is gone, why leave behind this obsession? Lin Feng's ancestor reached out and gently tapped the bloody figure formed from the ancestral fiend blood essence. Bang! Next, the bloody figure formed from the ancestral fiend blood essence crumbled. Although my bloodline has been abandoned, there are still descendants. My bloodline will eventually surpass the main bloodline. Chapter 2449. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Lin Feng could vaguely feel someone calling out to him. He opened his eyes and found that there was only darkness in front of him. This was a world of darkness. Lin Feng's consciousness was still immersed in the darkness. After an unknown amount of time, a ray of light appeared in this world of darkness. Lin Feng followed the ray of light and quickly chased after it. Finally, he escaped the darkness and came to the outside world of light. Whoosh! Light flashed before his eyes. Lin Feng came back to his senses. He found that he was still in the cave. The primordial magic cauldron was not far from him, and the heavenly fire was still burning. The black dragon rune stone had been melted into a ball of liquid. The ancestral devil blood floated in front of him, but it no longer had the ancestral devil's obsession. It was very quiet. What's going on? Lin Feng was puzzled. His consciousness had fallen into a state of deep sleep, so he didn't know what had happened. Demon Lord, what happened? I clearly remember that I was about to die. Why am I not dead? On the other hand, the ancestral demon blood is calm, asked Lin Feng. The demon lord's voice was faint. There are some things that I can't tell you. I'll wait for you to slowly discover them. Lin Feng couldn't help but roll his eyes. What was it that he couldn't tell him? It was so mysterious. It really made him curious. Of course, Lin Feng knew the demon lord well. It wasn't easy to get information from him. Therefore, he couldn't be bothered to continue asking the demon lord. Lin Feng planned to refine his own primordial chaos ancient lamp. He placed the primordial chaos ancient lamp in the primordial magic cauldron, then poured the black dragon rune stone into the lamp. At the same time, Lin Feng also fused the ancestral devil blood essence into the primordial chaos ancient lamp. The ancestral devil blood essence had a decisive effect on improving the quality of the primordial chaos ancient lamp. Heavenly fire refines, immortal treasure nurtures, great Tao weapon, all creatures bow down. Lin Feng began to recite the refining technique. Although he was not considered a top-notch craftsman, having cultivated to Lin Feng's level, he was actually quite proficient in crafting. Moreover, there were several blacksmithing experts in the Dragon Gate. Back then, Lin Feng had consulted several blacksmithing grandmasters in the Dragon Gate about blacksmithing. It might be difficult for Lin Feng to refine magical equipment on a large scale, but it was not difficult for Lin Feng to carefully carve his own life-bound magical equipment. Time quickly passed as the black dragon-patterned rock's metallic liquid and the ancestral fiend blood essence were gradually absorbed by the Chaos Ancient Lamp. Right now, Lin Feng's primal Chaos Ancient Lamp was a quasi-emperor level magic treasure. It was extremely powerful. Of course, once a magic treasure was upgraded to the level of a quasi-emperor weapon, the next step would be to evolve into an emperor weapon. It was extremely difficult for a quasi-emperor weapon to evolve into an emperor weapon. This level of difficulty was no less than the difficulty of a quasi-emperor weapon breaking through to an emperor weapon. Therefore, Lin Feng's primal Chaos Ancient Lamp needed a very long time to break through to the monarch armament level. Originally, Lin Feng's quasi-emperor weapon was an early-stage quasi-emperor weapon. Now that he had obtained the black dragon-patterned rock, especially after the ancestral fiend blood essence was upgraded, its quality had reached the mid-stage quasi-emperor weapon. Although it was only upgraded by one grade, it was already an extremely huge improvement. One had to know. For a quasi-emperor weapon, every upgrade was extremely difficult. After keeping the primal Chaos Ancient Lamp, Lin Feng planned to deal with the ghostly emperor properly. He took out the ghostly raising jar and said to the ghostly emperor, "Ghostly Emperor, it's time for us to settle the score." The ghostly emperor immediately shouted, "What? Could it be that you want me to submit to you? You don't have that ability." "Ha ha. Damn, I'm actually being looked down on by a ghost." Lin Feng could not help but roll his eyes. He had used the power of the Netherworld Envoy rune to suppress the ghostly emperor. However, the ghostly emperor was extremely terrifying now. He was actually able to dissolve the power of Lin Feng's Netherworld Envoy rune. The Netherworld Envoy rune is indeed very powerful. However, I don't belong to the Netherworld realm. Its effect on me is negligible. The ghostly emperor curled his lips and said, "The Netherworld Envoy rune could suppress Ean spirits and ghosts. However, it could not suppress all Ean spirits and ghosts. For Ean spirits and ghosts that did not belong to the Netherworld realm, the effect of the Netherworld Envoy rune would be greatly weakened." Previously, Lin Feng did not know about this. Now that he had used the Netherworld Envoy rune to suppress the ghostly emperor, he had failed. It was only after hearing the Ghost Emperor's proud words that he realized this point. "Humph! Do you think that you can continue to get away with this? Sooner or later, I will find a way to make you my slave. You will be under my control," Lin Feng said with a cold smile. The ghostly emperor laughed weirdly. "You are daydreaming. Every day, My power is increasing rapidly. You will never be able to control me. Let's ride a donkey and read a songbook. We'll see. Lin Feng could not help but laugh coldly. The night was bright. The moon was as bright as a plate, dotted with stars. Lin Feng sat on a large, smooth rock. Little Tian Tian's eyelids were drooping as she nestled in Lin Feng's embrace, looking drowsy. Bibi and the dragon rabbit were extremely energetic. They were chasing each other not far away. Uncle Lin! I suddenly remember where my home is! Little Tian Tian suddenly said. Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat, and he could not help but ask. Where is it? The Celestial Arch, the Celestial Arch, the Celestial Arch. Little Tian Tian remembers that many people are worshipping the Celestial Arch. Little Tian Tian said. The Celestial Arch? Could it be the Undying Realm? Lin Feng's face was filled with confusion. The Undying Realm had a heavenly court. It was said that the master of the heavenly court was called the Celestial Arch. Apart from the Undying Realm, Lin Feng could not think of any other place where people would worship the Celestial Arch. What kind of place is the Undying Realm? Little Tian Tian asked curiously. It is a huge world. It is ranked first among the 3,000 great worlds, Lin Feng said. Little Tian Tian bit her finger and said, Uncle Lin, Little Tian Tian had a dream a few days ago. Little girl, did you have a dream? Was it a very interesting dream? Lin Feng asked with a smile as he rubbed Little Tian Tian's head. Little Tian Tian said, It was a dream I had after eating that fruit. A dream you had after eating the deathly still fruit? Lin Feng asked in astonishment. His expression became somewhat solemn. After eating the deathly still fruit, Little Tian Tian fell into a deep slumber and absorbed the fruit's energy while she was asleep. As her cultivation increased, her bloodline memories began to awaken. If the dream Little Tian Tian spoke of was a dream, then it should not be a dream. Instead, it was some of the memories in her bloodline that had awakened. Perhaps it was some of the bloodline memories her parents had left her. Little Tian Tian nodded and said, It was that deathly still fruit. Little Tian Tian dreamed of Mother, and Mother told Little Tian Tian that the world we live in was created by an ancient clan. Lin Feng could not help but be shocked. The world Little Tian Tian spoke of was very likely the Undying Realm. Was the Undying Realm not formed by the laws of heaven and earth? How could it have been created by a clan? If what Little Tian Tian said was true, then it was too shocking. What clan could have created the Undying Realm? Chapter 2450. Lin Feng couldn't be sure if the Undying World was related to the Undying Clan. However, if what Little Tian Tian said was true, and the clan that created the Undying World was the Undying Clan, if that was the case, then the Undying Clan's origin was too terrifying. Even now, Lin Feng realized that he didn't know much about the Undying Clan. He only knew that the clan was very ancient, and that the Undying bloodline was one of the top 10 ancient bloodlines. However, this didn't mean that the Undying Clan's history originated from the immemorial era. If the Undying Clan had remained hidden from the world before the immemorial era, then their bloodline would naturally have been unknown. Demon Lord, tell me a little about the Undying World. You were once one of the big shots of the Undying World, so you should know more about it, right? Lin Feng transmitted to the Demon Lord. The Demon Lord asked indifferently, What do you want to know? About the Undying World and the Undying Clan, Lin Feng said. The Demon Lord pursed his lips and said, You really want to know a lot of things. Lin Feng smiled embarrassedly. The Demon Lord said, There are indeed some rumors about the Undying World. It's said that when the myriad worlds were evolving, the Undying World was related to a mysterious clan. Of course, I'm not sure if that clan is the Undying Clan. As for the Undying Clan, it's a little more mysterious. Its origin is very mysterious, and they're very powerful. No one knows where their ancestral land is. Isn't the Undying Clan's headquarters in the 9 prefectures? Lin Feng asked. The Demon Lord sneered and said disdainfully, It's not that I'm looking down on the Undying Clan of the 9 prefectures. But what kind of Undying Clan is this? They're probably a branch of the Undying Clan from the Great War. A true Undying Clan wouldn't have fallen to the mortal world. Back then, when the Celestial Emperor talked about the Undying Clan, he was deeply afraid. Do you think the Undying Clan of the 9 prefectures has the strength to make the Celestial Emperor afraid? Lin Feng was speechless. The Sky Emperor was in charge of the Undying Realm. The Undying Realm, ranked first among the 3,000 major worlds, was also the most powerful major world. It was easy to imagine how powerful the Sky Emperor who controlled the Undying World was. Although the 9 regions Great World was also a famous Great World, it was far inferior to the Undying Realm. Moreover, the Undying Clan was only one of the clans in the 9 continents world. It was not considered a supreme overlord. Therefore, this kind of Undying family simply did not have the qualifications to make the Heavenly Emperor feel apprehensive. Thus, the Undying Clan definitely had a great origin. In that case, everything about the Undying Clan is a mystery? Asked Lin Feng telepathically. To the common people, the Undying Clan is indeed too mysterious. However, back then, there were actually people who more or less guessed where the Undying family's ancestral land was. None of the people who went to explore that place came back alive. Later on, there were people who asked the Heavenly Emperor about some matters regarding the Undying family, but I don't know what the Heavenly Emperor specifically said. The Demon Lord said, "Seems like you've heard of the location of the Undying clan's ancestral land." Lin Feng asked. The Demon Lord said, "My memory is incomplete, I can't remember." Then, the Demon Lord cut off his connection with Lin Feng. Lin Feng was depressed. He did not believe that the Demon Lord really did not remember. It was obvious that the Demon Lord did not want to tell him. His curiosity was piqued halfway through the conversation, and then he did not say anything else. This was really too much of a scam. Lin Feng now had the urge to kick the Demon Lord to death. I'll endure. Lin Feng shouted fiercely in his heart. Xiao Tiantian had already fallen asleep in Lin Feng's arms. The little girl had a sweet smile on her face. She seemed to be dreaming of something happy in her sleep. Bibi and Dragon Rabbit were also tired from playing. They ran over to Lin Feng's side, and then leaned against Lin Feng's side and fell asleep. Only Lin Feng was not sleepy. Because only now did he realize that the Undying Clan was not as simple as he had imagined. What was the shocking origin of this ancient clan? This made Lin Feng extremely curious. However, the secret of the Undying Clan was destined to be difficult for Lin Feng to find out at this stage. The next day, Lin Feng, Xiao Tiantian, Bibi, and Dragon Rabbit continued their journey. Roar! Halfway there, they heard a high-pitched dragon roar. In the distance, a green flood dragon was pulling a divine carriage and rushing into the distance. A handsome middle-aged cultivator was sitting in the divine carriage. Lin Feng was surprised to see a human. It seemed that he was a cultivator from the 9 states Immortal Kingdom. Not long after, Lin Feng saw a few more cultivators. They were all very young, but those cultivators were not on the prodigy roll this time. They should also be from the 9 states Immortal Realm. These cultivators saw Lin Feng and the others from afar, but they did not pay too much attention to Lin Feng and the others. Instead, they quickly left. One after another, Lin Feng saw many cultivators appear in this mountain forest. They all looked hurried. Something seems to have happened. Lin Feng could not help but mutter. He decided to follow these cultivators to see what was going on. Lin Feng, Xiao Tiantian, Bibi, and Dragon Rabbit followed behind these cultivators. Finally, they saw a huge lake. Many cultivators gathered outside the huge lake. "Uncle Lin, there are so many people," Xiao Tiantian said. Lin Feng nodded. There were probably no less than a few thousand people gathered around the lake. He did not know why these people were gathered here. Could it be that there was a treasure in the lake? Seems like after so many years of development, the scale of the 9 provinces Immortal Empire has already grown to such a large scale. This place is truly worthy of being called a holy land for cultivation. The cultivation bases of those young cultivators are all so powerful. If they participate in the Heaven's Chosen rankings, they would definitely be able to achieve outstanding results. Lin Feng could not help but mutter to himself. At this time, an old man not far away said, "This is the holy land of the 9 states' great world. It is the best place for cultivation. Cultivating here will increase one's cultivation very quickly. However, as the saying goes, where there are gains, there are losses. Although cultivating here is fast, there are also losses." The old man must have heard Lin Feng's mutter. That was why he said that. Lin Feng asked, "Senior, what do you mean by losses?" "The people who stayed in the 9 continents' immortal realm later found out that they could no longer leave the place," the old man said. Lin Feng's expression changed slightly, and he said, "There's such a thing?" "Yes. Therefore, this place is like a siege. Those in the 9 states' immortal realm want to leave, while those outside want to enter. You must be a cultivator who stood out in the prodigy role, right? Remember, in the 9 states' immortal realm, you must guard your heart. If you can't, you are destined to be unwilling to leave this place. Then, you will be trapped here forever." Chapter 2451. Why can't we leave? Lin Feng asked with a frown. He felt that the paradise of the 9 continents was a little strange. Every world has its own laws of order that it needs to follow, the old man said. Lin Feng pondered for a moment, and nodded. "Why are these people here?" Lin Feng asked. "This lake is called the Wonderful Sound Lake. There is an immortal island in the Wonderful Sound Lake called the Wonderful Sound Island. There are many wonderful sound flowers there. These wonderful sound flowers are extraordinary and have many uses. For example, they can be used to concoct all kinds of pills. These pills can increase a cultivator's soul energy. Of course, you can also bring the wonderful sound grass to the 9 continents' immortal country to exchange for pills that can increase soul energy. Therefore, these wonderful sound flowers are very popular," the old man said. After hearing the old man's words, Lin Feng was shocked. Heavenly treasures that could increase soul energy were extremely rare. Once such a treasure appeared, it would definitely cause a bloodbath. Who would have thought that a treasure like the wonderful sound flower would appear here? Lin Feng was also very interested in the wonderful sound flower. He had an extremely terrifying concealment technique, and that was Lu Ye's stargazing chart. It was a technique that used soul energy to attack the soul. In the past, Lin Feng had used Lu Ye's stargazing chart to kill Huangfu Qingtian. If it wasn't for Lu Ye's stargazing chart, Lin Feng might have died in that battle. Therefore, Lin Feng was very interested in treasures that could increase soul energy. Bestial roars could be heard from afar. Black flame beasts let out deep roars and rushed over. There was a cultivator sitting on top of each black flame beast. Those cultivators had spears on their backs. They were obviously from the same faction. Among those black flame beasts, there was a huge one. A young man was sitting cross-legged on top of that huge black flame beast. That group of young men should be the leader of this group. Emo Tianyan, a direct descendant of the Emo clan. He's one of the most important disciples of the Emo clan. His talent is extraordinary. Yeah, I heard that he broke through to the God realm when he was 25, the divine flame realm when he was 28, the true God realm when he was 32, the heavenly God realm when he was 37, the giant God realm when he was 60 years old, and the quasi-emperor realm when he was 300 years old. He's truly a genius. How many people in the outside world can compare to him with such talent? The 9 provinces' immortal territory is destined to be different from the outside world. I've heard that those major powers have been thinking of ways to leave the 9 provinces' immortal territory. I wonder if those major powers have found a way to leave? To put it bluntly, even if we find it, we probably won't be able to benefit from it. Many cultivators began to discuss among themselves. There were many powers in the 9 continents' immortal realm, and the Emo clan was one of them. Even the royal clan of the 9 provinces was extremely fearful of the Emo clan. After Emo Tianyan's arrival, a few other young masters arrived one after another. Their identities were all extraordinary as they came from the big families of the 9 states' wonderland. These big families were currently occupying a region. Thus, the 9 provinces' immortal territory felt like it was a feudal state. The 9 provinces' immortal country was the only country in the 9 provinces' immortal territory, and it was also the largest power. However, other than the 9 provinces' immortal country, some other major powers had also established ancient cities. It was just that they hadn't established a country yet. Of course, in terms of strength, there was a certain gap between those major powers and the 9 provinces' immortal country. Within the 9 provinces' immortal territory, the 9 provinces' immortal country's status was similar to the supreme immortal sect of the 9 provinces' great world. Several hundred beautiful maidservants flew over from afar. Immortal light lingered around them. Within the immortal light, there was a divine carriage adorned with flowers. Those beautiful maidservants were all carrying flower baskets. As they flew, they scattered flower petals. In the forest, an elegant fragrance of flowers instantly permeated the air. Uncle Lin, there's a beautiful big sister in that flower carriage. Little Tian Tian pointed at the flower carriage that was surrounded by several hundred beautiful maidservants. Lin Feng looked over and saw a woman wearing a pink palace dress. That woman had a graceful figure and fair skin. Just by looking at her figure, one could tell that she was a peerless beauty. However, that woman had a veil over her face. It was hard to see her face. Lin Feng couldn't help but feel a little depressed. Little Tian Tian, this little girl, called that woman Big Sister. She actually called him Uncle Lin. He was clearly very young, okay? That woman had probably been cultivating for 1,000 years, but how long had he been cultivating? Princess Liner is here. After seeing that woman, many people couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. That woman was called Zhao Liner. She was the princess of the 9 provinces' immortal country. Zhao Liner was very famous in the 9 provinces' immortal territory. She was known as the #1 beauty of the 9 provinces' immortal territory. Most importantly, not only was Zhao Liner beautiful, but she was also very talented. Her cultivation was unfathomable. Countless young elites and young masters of aristocratic families wanted to pursue Zhao Liner. However, none of them were able to win her heart. Do the disciples of these major powers bring so many people with them when they go out? Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter. Mo Tianyan, who was the first to arrive, brought over 100 people. Those who came later brought at least a few dozen people, and at most a few hundred people. Now Princess Zhao Liner also brought over a few hundred beautiful maids. She was really too ostentatious. Now that so many people had gathered, it was obvious that they were all here for the sweet sound flower. Zhao Liner's arrival caused quite a stir, especially the young masters of aristocratic families. They all came to greet her. Zhao Liner kept smiling and chatting amiably with these young masters. Her figure is really not bad. I wonder what kind of celestial beauty is hidden under the veil. Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. Brother, don't even think about it. Very few people have seen Princess Zhao Liner. How can ordinary people like us meet her? A cultivator said aloud. Lin Feng rubbed his chin. That's not necessarily true. Don't do anything stupid. Princess Zhao Liner's bodyguard can take your life. The cultivator continued. At that moment, Zhao Liner, who was talking to a group of young masters, suddenly made a sound of surprise. She looked in Lin Feng's direction. Princess Zhao Liner is looking at me. Is she looking at me? She's clearly looking at me. Could it be that she's interested in me? I think Princess Zhao Liner is interested in me. Maybe she fell in love with me at first sight. Look at her eyes, they're filled with adoration. Chapter 2452. Liner, what are you looking at? Mo Tianyan asked curiously. He was one of Zhao Liner's suitors and was quite familiar with her. There were very few things that could pique her interest. The rest of the young masters also turned their heads to look, wanting to see what Zhao Liner was looking at. Dragon rabbit, Zhao Liner said. Her gaze landed on the dragon rabbit standing on Lin Feng's shoulder. The rest of the people were shocked when they heard the words dragon rabbit. Their gazes quickly landed on the dragon rabbit standing on Lin Feng's shoulder. Dragon horn rabbit body. Is this the legendary dragon rabbit? A young master from an aristocratic family said. He was dressed in white and looked very handsome. His name was Yi Yunfei. His family was also very big, not much weaker than the Mo family. Yes, it's a dragon rabbit. I once saw a picture of a dragon rabbit in a Taoist scripture, Zhao Liner said. Dragon rabbits were very rare. Dragon rabbits had never appeared in the Nine States Paradise. However, many people had heard of dragon rabbits because they could find treasures. That was why countless cultivators flocked to them. Being able to obtain a dragon rabbit was something that many people dreamed of, especially in the Nine States Paradise. This place was filled with opportunities. If there was a dragon rabbit, how many opportunities would one be able to find? Does the princess want it? If so, I can help the princess get that dragon rabbit, a young master in blue brocade clothes said. This young master was called Du Tianyu. He was also from a top aristocratic family. Thank you for your kindness, young master. Do let Liner handle this matter herself, Zhao Liner said. Then, she walked towards Lin Feng. The rest of the young masters also followed and surrounded Zhao Liner like a moon surrounded by a myriad of stars. In the entire Nine States Paradise, only Zhao Liner could receive such treatment. To be able to have so many top-notch young masters surrounding her. Wherever a peerless beauty like Zhao Liner went, she would be the center of attention. Zhao Liner's every move attracted the attention of countless people. Therefore, when Zhao Liner walked towards Lin Feng, many people also looked towards Lin Feng. Everyone was trying to guess Zhao Liner's motive. Some people recognized the dragon rabbit standing on Lin Feng's shoulder and were shocked. When they thought of Zhao Lin walking towards Lin Feng, they couldn't help but reveal pensive expressions. Sir, how should I address you? Zhao Liner bowed slightly to Lin Feng. Lin Feng! Lin Feng? Zhao Liner softly murmured Lin Feng's name, as though she was trying her best to recall which genius had this name in her memories. But he thought for a long time. He had never thought that any Heaven's Chosen would have such a name. At that moment, Mo Tianyan looked at Lin Feng and said, The genius ranking battle seems to have started recently. Are you a cultivator from the outside world? Lin Feng nodded. That's right. What? Someone from the outside world? Many people looked at Lin Feng in shock. Every cultivator who looked at Lin Feng had a look of envy and jealousy on their faces. Lin Feng could stay in the Nine States Paradise for a year if he came from the outside world. During this year, he could search for all sorts of opportunities. Of course, he could also go to the Nine States Immortal Kingdom or the cities built by the various major factions. He could use the natural treasures from the outside world to exchange for the natural treasures and cultivation resources in the Nine States Paradise. Most importantly, the cultivators who entered the Nine States Paradise could leave after a year. After obtaining all sorts of opportunities, countless natural treasures, and cultivation resources, they could leave the Nine States Paradise. From then on, their cultivation would advance by leaps and bounds. But what about them? They couldn't leave and had to continue staying in the Nine States Paradise. Of course, the Nine States Paradise was big enough. For ordinary cultivators, the Nine States Immortal Realm was a vast and boundless world. In such a world, they could work hard and struggle their entire lives, and perhaps one day, they could become the best of the best. They wouldn't spend all their time thinking about leaving the Nine States Paradise. However, for those top experts, they actually yearned to leave. It was just like how the top cultivators of the Tianwu continent yearned to go to the Nine States world. The top cultivators of the Nine States world yearned to go to the undying world. Those top experts all hoped to go to a wider world to broaden their horizons. They didn't want to stay in one place all the time. Therefore, it was understandable that some people were envious of Lin Feng. Zhao Liner asked curiously, What kind of world is the Nine States world? Lin Feng said, It's very big and has many factions. Furthermore, you can travel through the starry sky and follow the ancient starry sky path to wherever you want to go. For example, the undying world, the god world, the devil world, and so on. Lin Feng's words caused many people's thoughts to drift. It was as if they followed Lin Feng's train of thought, and saw the vast nine-states world. It was as if they saw the boundless starry sky. It was the same for Zhao Lin'er. She also yearned to see the outside world. However, Zhao Lin'er's willpower was very strong. She quickly withdrew her thoughts and glanced at the dragon rabbit. Then, she looked back at Lin Feng and asked, "Is this little beast of yours a dragon rabbit?" "Yes." Lin Feng nodded. The dragon rabbit's characteristics were very obvious. Therefore, those who knew a little about the dragon rabbit race would be able to recognize it at first glance. Lin Feng kept the dragon rabbit and Bibi in the mountain river ring most of the time. Firstly, the two little fellows were young and fond of sleeping. Secondly, the two little fellows were too extraordinary. If they were outside, it would be easy for others to spy on them. Of course, Zhao Lin and the others only recognized the dragon rabbit. They didn't recognize Bibi. In fact, Bibi was a more terrifying spirit beast. Even the Demon Lord didn't dare to easily reveal Bibi's race. However, the Demon Lord was too tight-lipped. Even Lin Feng couldn't find out too much about Bibi from the Demon Lord. "I'm very interested in this dragon rabbit. Lin Gongzi, you can name a price." "No matter the price, I will satisfy Lin Gongzi," Zhao Lin'er said. Squeak, 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 squeak. The dragon rabbit was psychic. When it heard that Zhao Lin'er wanted to buy it, it immediately screamed in anger. The little fellow bared its fangs at Zhao Lin'er and cried. Over the years, Lin Feng had encountered this situation more than once. He had encountered the same situation as Zhao Lin'er 7 or 8 times. When those cultivators saw the dragon rabbit, they wanted to buy it from Lin Feng. However, they were rejected by Lin Feng every time. "The dragon rabbit is like my family. I won't consider selling it," Lin Feng flatly refused. "Kid, don't be so shameless. If Princess Lin'er didn't want to buy your dragon rabbit, who do you think you are? Do you have the right to speak to Princess Lin'er?" Chapter 2453. Du Tianyu had always wanted to show off in front of Zhao Lin'er. Now that he saw Lin Feng actually reject Zhao Lin'er's request to buy the dragon rabbit, Du Tianyu felt that his chance to perform had come. If he could help Zhao Lin'er obtain the dragon rabbit, perhaps he would be able to gain more points in front of Zhao Lin'er. At that time, he might even be able to win her heart. Du Tianyu's wishful thinking was good, but this guy didn't know what kind of person Lin Feng was. Lin Feng wasn't someone who wouldn't retaliate after suffering a loss. It was already good enough that he didn't bully others. How could he let others bully him? "Who do you think you are? Making a big fuss here? Your words alone are enough for you to die 10 times over. Do you know that?" Lin Feng looked at Du Tianyu coldly. The surrounding people were all stunned after hearing Lin Feng's words. No one would have thought that Lin Feng would actually say these words to Du Tianyu. Lin Feng was just an outsider. He actually dared to be so presumptuous towards the children of the aristocratic families of the 9 regions. Perhaps it would be more appropriate to describe him as arrogant. He actually dared to be so arrogant in front of the children of the aristocratic families of the 9 regions. Everyone felt a sense of astonishment. Did he not want to live anymore? "Brat, what did you say?" Du Tianyu's face suddenly became extremely gloomy. In front of so many people, Lin Feng actually dared to look down on him. Wasn't this a slap to his face? Du Tianyu, this kind of aristocratic family descendant, valued face the most. So how could he swallow this anger? Moreover, this was the 9 continents immortal realm, not the 9 continents world outside. In Du Tianyu's opinion, in the 9 regions immortal realm, killing an outsider like Lin Feng was as simple as killing an ant. Now that Lin Feng dared to be so arrogant in front of him, Du Tianyu's heart was already filled with killing intent towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng naturally knew what Du Tianyu was thinking, but he didn't care at all. With his current cultivation and Xiao Tian by his side, let alone Du Tianyu, even if he were to face the entire Du family, he would not be able to do anything. Lin Feng had nothing to fear. He looked at Du Tianyu indifferently and said, "What? Can't you understand human language? This guy is too arrogant. Yeah, he's even more arrogant than I imagined. The cultivators in the prodigy ranking battle are all geniuses. I reckon their backgrounds are not bad. Moreover, it was Du Tianyu who spoke rudely first. It's normal for that kid to not give Du Tianyu face. But he forgot that this is not the Nine States world. This is the Nine States fairyland. Even a powerful dragon cannot defeat a local snake. What's more, this kid is so young. Even if his strength is extraordinary, it is only limited to the younger generation. What could they use to fight with the Du family? Isn't he courting death? Young and hot-blooded. Du Tianyu will not let this matter end so easily. Du Tianyu has brought over 100 cultivators with him, and there is no lack of experts among them. Du Tianyu is vicious and merciless. He might even kill that kid. Killing him would be letting him off too easily. It's very likely that they'll torture him ruthlessly and make him wish he was dead. They'll only kill him when he's tortured to the point where he doesn't even look human anymore, and his will collapses. The surrounding cultivators discussed animatedly. Obviously, no one was optimistic about Lin Feng's chances. After all, Lin Feng was a foreign cultivator. In these people's opinion, no matter how strong a foreign cultivator was, if he offended the local snake of the Nine States fairyland, only death awaited him. Du Tianyu looked at Lin Feng with a sinister gaze and said coldly, "Kid, you are the first person who dares to speak to me like this. You don't know what's good for you. It seems that I need to make an example out of you. Otherwise, others will think that any Tom, Dick, or Harry can jump around in front of me." Zhao Liner said, "The two of you, this matter started because of me. Can you give me some face and let it go?" Seeing that Zhao Liner was pleading for mercy, Du Tianyu had no choice but to give her some face. He said, "Princess Liner, of course I have to give you some face. As long as this kid licks the soles of my shoes clean, I will give you some face and spare his life." "Ha ha!" Lin Feng suddenly laughed. Du Tianyu's expression darkened. He looked coldly at Lin Feng and said, "What are you laughing at?" "I'm laughing at your stupidity. A piece of trash like you actually dares to jump around in front of me. How foolish. I only need one move to deal with trash like you," Lin Feng said indifferently. When he looked at Du Tianyu, his eyes were filled with disdain. This infuriated Du Tianyu. "Princess Liner, this kid is courting death. Don't blame me." Du Tianyu looked at Zhao Liner and waved his hand. More than 100 cultivators behind Du Tianyu surrounded Lin Feng. "Capture him alive. I will torture this kid later. I want him to kneel in front of me like a dog, wagging his tail and begging for mercy." Du Tianyu's face was filled with a sinister smile. Yes. After receiving Du Tianyu's order, more than 100 guards responded. Then, the group of people pounced on Lin Feng like wolves and tigers. "Kneel." Lin Feng's expression was indifferent as he released his epic aura. His epic aura had evolved. It was unknown how many times stronger it was than before. The epic aura enveloped more than 100 cultivators. Among the cultivators that were enveloped, there were more than a dozen giant God Realm cultivators and 2 first-grade quasi-emperors. However, as strong as they were, they could not resist Lin Feng's epic aura. The ordinary cultivators knelt on the ground with a thud. Those giant God Realm and Quasi-Emperor Realm cultivators resisted for a while but could not resist the terrifying aura emitted from Lin Feng's body. Thud! Thud! Those giant God Realm and Quasi-Emperor Realm cultivators all knelt on the ground. Now that Lin Feng's cultivation was at the Heavenly God Realm, he could already contend with some Quasi-Emperor Realm cultivators when he was at the peak of the true God Realm. After breaking through to the Heavenly God Realm, Lin Feng did not know how strong he was. Dealing with a group of giant God Realm cultivators and 2 first-grade Quasi-Emperor Realm cultivators was simply too easy. How is this possible? Am I seeing things? There are so many experts, but they are all suppressed by his aura? How terrifying is this person's cultivation? One by one, the cultivators cried out in shock, unable to believe what they were seeing. Lin Feng walked toward Du Tianyu like a demon or a god. His voice exploded like divine thunder, shaking heaven and earth. Chapter 2454. The crowd looked at Lin Feng as if they were looking at a god. Lin Feng was no different from a god. He was powerful, oppressive, and suffocating. "You're going too far." Du Tianyu's expression was extremely ugly. He wanted to struggle. However, he was shocked to find that he couldn't break free from Lin Feng's pressure. Du Tianyu knew that he had kicked an iron plate today. He didn't expect Lin Feng to be so terrifying. Zhao Lin and the others looked at Lin Feng in shock. The Nine Continents Paradise was the Nine Continents world's holy land. Cultivating in the Nine Continents Paradise would allow one's cultivation to increase rapidly. However, they had cultivated in the Nine Continents Paradise for so many years, but when they faced Lin Feng, everyone still felt a suffocating sense of oppression. They knew that even if they attacked, they were far from being Lin Feng's match. The man in front of them was too terrifying. In the Nine Continents Paradise, where there were countless geniuses, the only ones who could defeat Lin Feng were the dozen or so heaven-defying geniuses. Those dozen or so heaven-defying geniuses had cultivated for between 3,000 to 10,000 years. Their cultivation was powerful and unfathomable. They had been able to defeat Lin Feng because they had practiced cultivation for longer than Lin Feng. In many people's opinion, if Lin Feng had cultivated for such a long time, it would be hard to say who would win. Lin Feng looked at Du Tianyu indifferently. "Now you have the nerve to say that I'm going too far? How laughable! If my cultivation was weak, I would have been beaten half to death by now." As soon as Lin Feng finished speaking, he sent a palm strike at Du Tianyu. Du Tianyu also attacked Lin Feng. An illusory fist shadow condensed on Du Tianyu's fist. Within the illusory fist shadow, a world appeared. The world was mysterious and unfathomable. It could break the sky and was abnormally powerful. Du Tianyu's strength was actually very strong. However, his opponent, Lin Feng, was too powerful. Bang! The two sides collided, and a dull sound of collision was heard. Du Tianyu's body flew out like a kite with a broken string. Wow! Du Tianyu spat out a mouthful of blood in midair and fell to the ground with a plop. His body twitched violently. Du Tianyu could be considered one of the top geniuses of the Nine Continents. But in Lin Feng's hands, he could not even receive a single move. "He's too strong. A ferocious dragon will not cross the river. This person's cultivation is unimaginably terrifying. Du Tianyu has been beaten to such a state, the Du family won't let this matter rest, right? The Du family has a heaven-defying genius. Are you talking about Du Tianming? That person has been cultivating for 8,700 years. It's said that he reached the quasi-emperor realm in 175 years. I wonder how many Dao platforms he has managed to reach in the quasi-emperor realm? He's definitely one of the strongest in the quasi-emperor realm. If Du Tianming appears, I'm afraid this kid won't be a match for him. Even if Du Tianming doesn't make a move, the Du family won't let him off so easily. The Du family has many experts." The surrounding cultivators who were watching the show whispered to each other. The Du family was one of the top 10 families in the Nine Continents. After so many years of ups and downs, they had accumulated a strong foundation. If the Du family made a move, there was no one they could not kill. Lin Feng was strong. However, he was only one person, and he had a 5-year-old child with him. Could he escape the Du family's pursuit? Lin Feng could not be bothered with Du Tianyu anymore. Du Tianyu's confidence had been shattered, and his spirit had been severely damaged. He would not be able to achieve much in this lifetime. Lin Feng carried little Tian Tian and stood on a mountain peak, looking at the melodious lake. Many people looked at Lin Feng. Their eyes were filled with respect. "Uncle Lin, if there are any bad guys in the future, you don't have to do anything. Little Tian Tian can defeat them." Little Tian Tian waved her fist and said, "Good girl." Lin Feng rubbed little Tian Tian's head. The melodious lake was very calm. Everyone was still waiting for the restriction around the lake to disappear. The restriction around the melodious lake was very powerful. Not only was the top of the melodious lake covered by a powerful restriction, even the bottom of the melodious lake was said to have a terrifying restriction. Therefore, one could not dive into the lake. Once one dived into the lake, it was very likely that one would die. The island of heaven fell to the mortal world. The beautiful butterflies flew around the flowers, flapping their wings and stirring up the wind. The flowers were adorned. The beautiful fairies walked out of the palace and walked among the clouds. The handsome heavenly generals walked over with a bright smile. On that warm afternoon, the beautiful fairies and the handsome heavenly generals walked on colorful clouds and toured the mortal world. Melodious voices came from the inside of the wonderful sound lake. The voices seemed to have a magical power. When he heard those voices, he thought, "That's right." Many people felt that their hearts were about to soften. Even the most beautiful songs couldn't compare to the voices coming from the melodious lake. The sounds coming from the wondrous sound lake were simply too beautiful to listen to. "Is there a fairy sister singing inside?" Little Tian Tian looked at the melodious lake and asked innocently. The name of the wonderful sound lake came from the pleasant sounds that came from the wonderful sound lake. However, no one knew where the voices came from. It was very strange to not be able to find the source. When the pleasant voices came again, the restriction around the lake dissipated. The restriction of the wonderful sound lake began to gradually dissipate. Once the restriction of the wonderful sound lake was completely gone, many cultivators quickly rushed towards the depths of the melodious lake. The melodious lake was very large. Whoosh! Suddenly, a huge wave rose from the lake. Many cultivators were swept away by the waves. They didn't even have the chance to make a sound before they were sucked into the lake and disappeared without a trace. No one was able to see them alive or dead. Seeing this scene, many people couldn't help but gasp. Weren't the waves from the melodious lake too strange? Those cultivators were so powerful, but they couldn't even struggle after being swept away by the waves. It was hard to imagine what secrets were hidden in the waves. Lin Feng tried his best to avoid the gigantic waves which swept across the sky. Boom, boom, boom! Suddenly, waves of destructive aura filled the air. Something seemed to be rushing out from the depths of the melodious lake. Obviously, it wasn't easy to enter the melodious island to pick the melodious flower. Danger lurked everywhere in the melodious lake. Look, what's that? Chapter 2455. Everyone looked over and saw a blood-red cloud flying toward them. The blood-red clouds contained a destructive power, which was simply shocking and moving. Something's wrong. Let's go. Many people cried out in fear when they saw the blood-red cloud in the distance. The blood-red cloud in the distance made their hearts palpitate. No one knew what terrifying thing was hiding in the blood-red cloud. Everyone avoided it and flew into the distance, trying to get away from it as soon as possible. Screech! However, at that moment, a sharp, ear-piercing screech suddenly rang out. The screech shook the void and reverberated in all directions, shaking heaven and earth. Ah! Many cultivators cried out in pain. The screech was terrifying and contained a soul attack. Many cultivators were in great pain and suffering. Lin Feng hurriedly sent Bibi and Dragon Rabbit into the mountain river ring. The two little guys were still young and didn't know how to defend the soul. He didn't send little Tian Tian into the mountain river ring. Little Tian Tian was strong enough, and she didn't like staying in the mountain river ring. The sound wave attack from the blood-red cloud couldn't hurt Lin Feng and little Tian Tian. However, although they were not harmed by the sound wave attack, they were still in trouble. Blood clouds were surging in all directions, and they were rushing over at high speed. Many cultivators were swallowed by the blood-red cloud. Then, white bones fell from the sky. The cultivators who were swallowed by the blood-red cloud had all turned into white bones. Seeing this scene, many people were so scared that their faces turned as white as paper. The blood-red cloud was too terrifying. Finally, the blood-red cloud gradually approached Lin Feng. At that moment, Lin Feng could clearly see what the bloody cloud was. It covered the sky and was tumbling violently, constantly swallowing cultivators. It wasn't a blood-red cloud at all. It was an endless number of blood-red bugs. There were too many of them. Therefore, when the blood-red bugs gathered together, it looked like a surging blood-red cloud. The blood-red bugs were very strange. They could send out sound wave attacks. A sound wave attack from a single bug wouldn't cause much damage to a cultivator. However, there was an endless number of blood-red bugs in front of him. He didn't know how many there were. So many blood-colored bugs released a sonic attack at the same time. The power was too strong, and even Lin Feng felt that it was troublesome. Demonic sonar bugs! They are demonic sonar bugs! These bugs are capable of using soundwave attacks. Moreover, they are impervious to weapons, water, and fire. To think that so many demonic sonar bugs have appeared here. What? This was the demonic sound bug? Rumor has it that the demonic sound bug feeds on the gods. I don't want to die. I'm still so young. I don't want to die here. Cries of terror could be heard everywhere. Some were even crying. The demon sound bugs were simply too terrifying. After finding out that the bugs before them were demon sound bugs, many of the cultivators had a mental breakdown. Jump into the lake. He thought of a way to avoid the demonic sound bugs and jumped into the lake to hide. Many cultivators jumped into the lake. Whoosh! At this moment, huge waves rolled in the lake. Lin Feng could vaguely see that there seemed to be something huge in the lake. The show was about to begin. The scales covering its body exuded a cold and sinister aura. There was an extremely terrifying wild beast hiding within the lake. The cultivators who had jumped into the lake to avoid the demonic sound bugs' attacks did not appear again. However, blood was flowing out from the lake. It was very likely that those cultivators had met with a calamity and died tragically in the lake. There are wild beasts in the lake. Lin Feng was not the only one who saw the wild beast in the lake. Many others saw it as well. He roared in horror. The cultivators who had wanted to jump into the lake to avoid the demonic sound bugs' attacks quickly stopped themselves. Screech! The demonic sound bugs unleashed their second wave of attacks. Many people clutched their heads and wailed in pain. The demon sound bugs would take advantage of the moment when the cultivators were suffering from soul attacks to pounce on them, devouring them completely. Only their blood-stained bones were left as they fell into the lake. Of course, there was no lack of experts among the cultivators who possessed extraordinary methods. They were able to escape from the demonic sound bugs. There were also some who relied on powerful magic treasures to kill their way out. A large number of demonic sound bugs flew toward Lin Feng and little Tian Tian. Lin Feng unleashed his heavenly fire to burn the demonic sound bugs. However, the heavenly fire was unable to harm the demonic sound bugs. This greatly shocked him. Aren't these demonic sound bugs' defenses a little too terrifying? Lin Feng frowned slightly. He retracted the heavenly fire into his body. Then, he used the great defense technique to condense a defensive crystal wall to protect him and little Tian Tian. The demonic sound bugs quickly surrounded them and began to gnaw at the defensive crystal wall. From the outside, the endless demonic sound bugs formed a huge ball of blood. Lin Feng and little Tian Tian were trapped inside. Uncle Lin, there are so many big bugs! Little Tian Tian pointed at the bugs. Wah! Little Tian Tian shrieked. Bang! 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 The demonic sound bugs surrounding Lin Feng and little Tian Tian were instantly reduced to ashes. Little Tian Tian was too terrifying. The other demonic sound bugs were so frightened that they quickly distanced themselves from Lin Feng and little Tian Tian. Countless cultivators died tragically wherever the demonic sound bugs went. In the end, the demonic sound bugs flew into the distance. They quickly disappeared without a trace. These damned bugs! I've finally survived! Lin Feng muttered to himself. The cultivators who had persevered or managed to escape heaved a sigh of relief. There were many cultivators in the periphery. When they saw the demonic sound bugs from afar, they did not dare to go deeper into the lake. Instead, they watched from afar and managed to escape this calamity. Lin Feng carried little Tian Tian and quickly flew toward the depths of the ingenious sound lake. Let's go and find the ingenious sound flower! Many cultivators whispered. They did not stop and quickly flew toward the depths of the ingenious sound lake. In the depths of the ingenious sound lake, There was a huge island that was shrouded in lightning. Thunderclouds covered the sky above the island. Lightning dragons and snakes swam around in the clouds. They emitted an aura that could destroy the heavens and the earth. The area within 30 miles of the Ingenious Sound Island was shrouded in lightning. It's not easy to get the Ingenious Sound flower. The Ingenious Sound Island doesn't only have the Ingenious Sound flower. I heard that there are many other precious resources. Is that so? What else is there? I'm not sure. It's said that the origin of the Ingenious Sound Island is extremely mysterious. It's called the Heavenly Fallen Divine Island, and there are some lost races on it. In the outside world, you can't see those races anymore. Therefore, there are many amazing opportunities on the Ingenious Sound Island. However, it's not easy to obtain those opportunities. You have to depend on your luck and luck. People kept entering the area covered in lightning. If they wanted to enter the Ingenious Sound Island, they had to take the risk and pass through the area. More and more cultivators entered the area covered in lightning. Lin Feng carried little Tian Tian and entered the area as well. Bolts of lightning struck down one after another. They had to be careful when entering the area. The lightning contained the power of order. If they were struck, they could easily die. Swish! Without any sound, a cold light suddenly shot out from behind Lin Feng and slashed toward him. The attack was too sudden, and Lin Feng was caught off guard. Chapter 2456. To be able to hide so well that even Lin Feng and Xiao Tiantian couldn't sense his presence, one could only imagine how powerful this cultivator was. In theory, this attack was impossible to dodge. No one could dodge such a terrifying attack in such a short period of time, nor could they prepare a divine ability to block this attack in such a short period of time. Perhaps Lin Feng was the only one who could do it. This was because Lin Feng had a powerful divine ability. This divine ability was the heaven-mending art. By borrowing an opportunity from the heavens, the heaven-mending art could avoid any danger. Unless the opponent knew that Lin Feng knew the heaven-mending art, and used the divine ability to suppress Lin Feng's heaven-mending art. Otherwise, no one would be able to stop Lin Feng's heaven-mending art. Whoosh! In the face of this sure-kill attack, Lin Feng disappeared without a trace. In the next moment, Lin Feng walked out of the void 20 meters away and punched the air in front of him. Bang! With a violent collision, the void shattered and a cultivator hidden in the void was blasted out. This cultivator held a sword in one hand and emitted a bone-chilling aura. This person should be an expert in the Tao of the sword. After seeing this cultivator, Lin Feng couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. Someone from the Du clan? He asked. You're a smart person, the man with the sword said coldly. Du clan. Du Wenzong. I didn't kill Du Qianyu, which is already giving your Du clan face. You dare to cause trouble for me? Do you really think I have a good temper? Lin Feng said indifferently. At this moment, his heart was filled with murderous intent. Lin Feng had always been the kind of person who would respect others 10 times over if they respected him. Since the Du clan didn't want to let this matter go, Lin Feng naturally wasn't someone who was afraid of trouble. Humph! As a foreign cultivator, you dare to offend my Du clan? You're courting death. No one in this world can save your life. Du Wenzong's eyes flashed with a cold killing intent. 100 slash! With a cold shout, he slashed out with the sword in his hand. Whoosh! Over 100 sharp sword lights condensed and slashed towards Lin Feng. In the face of such a terrifying sword light, Lin Feng was forced to retreat. Du Wenzong's sword technique was truly powerful. Uncle Lin, let little Tian Tian help you, little Tian Tian said. Now that Lin Feng was holding little Tian Tian, his strength was greatly restricted. Little Tian Tian, she simply wanted to help Lin Feng. As a matter of course. All right, let's join hands and kill him. It'll save us a lot of time. At that moment, Lin Feng was in a hurry to go to the Miaoyin Island to find the Miaoyin flower. It was a precious treasure that could increase the strength of one's soul. And to waste. If this continued, the sweet sound flower would be taken by someone else. Joining forces with little Tian Tian was the best way to deal with Du Wenzong. Lin Feng didn't feel embarrassed at all. Boom! Lin Feng and little Tian Tian separated, and then the two of them forced Du Wenzong. I'll kill you first, you little bastard! Du Wenzong sneered. He decided to kill little Tian Tian first, and then Lin Feng. Little Tian Tian was too young, about 5 or 6 years old. Du Wenzong guessed that little Tian Tian was probably picked up by Lin Feng in the Jiuzhou Wonderland. Of course, it could also be a transformed spiritual beast. Some top spiritual beasts could transform into human form. No matter if Lin Feng had picked her up or if little Tian Tian was a spiritual beast, she was so young. Even if she was strong, how strong could she be? Therefore, Du Wenzong did not put little Tian Tian in his eyes at all. His idea was to kill little Tian Tian first, and then kill Lin Feng. Du Wenzong held his sword and became one with it. He tore through the void and instantly appeared in front of little Tian Tian. He went straight for little Tian Tian. Du Wenzong's lips curled into a cold smile. In his opinion, little Tian Tian was dead meat. Little Tian Tian wants to help Uncle Lin kill you, you big bad guy! Little Tian Tian snorted and threw a punch. Bang! Little Tian Tian's little fist swept out, and an unimaginably terrifying force suddenly erupted. Du Wenzong was still more than a meter away from little Tian Tian, but he was sent flying by little Tian Tian's fist. Barf! Du Wenzong spat out a mouthful of blood. His face was filled with shock and horror. Du Wenzong was a quasi-emperor cultivator on the 35th Dao platform. A cultivator of this level was roughly equivalent to an early-stage quasi-emperor. He was unusually strong. One must know that quasi-emperors had to ascend to the 99th Dao platform. Every time a quasi-emperor ascended a platform, his strength would increase greatly. How could a quasi-emperor who had ascended to the 35th Dao platform not be able to kill a young cultivator and a little girl? Lin Feng gave Du Wenzong the impression that he was strong, but not impossible to deal with. Little Tian Tian, on the other hand, gave Du Wenzong the impression that she was a towering mountain that he could only look up to, but not climb. Challenging little Tian Tian was simply suicide. Run! That was the only thought left in Du Wenzong's mind. If little Tian Tian's cultivation was ordinary, he could have killed little Tian Tian and then killed Lin Feng. But little Tian Tian was simply too strong. With just one punch, she had completely destroyed Du Wenzong's self-confidence. Du Wenzong had just thought of running when the void split open and Lin Feng appeared. Just as Du Wenzong was about to kill little Tian Tian, Lin Feng used his void travel technique and hid in the void. Du Wenzong's attention was all on little Tian Tian, so he did not notice Lin Feng. When Du Wenzong was sent flying by little Tian Tian and injured, Lin Feng appeared just in time. He used the 5 Emperor Dragon Fists to attack Du Wenzong. His punch condensed the phantoms of 5 great emperors. It was simply invincible. Gods and Buddhas would be killed if they stood in his way. Du Wenzong sensed the terrifying aura behind him and cursed inwardly. He wanted to dodge, but it was too late. He did not know the heaven patching technique. Naturally, he could not use the heaven patching technique to escape at this critical moment. Bang! Lin Feng's punch landed on Du Wenzong's body. Half of Du Wenzong's body exploded. It was extremely tragic. Lin Feng rushed forward, wanting to kill Du Wenzong once and for all. Burn my divine body! Space-time reversal! At this moment, Du Wenzong roared, and his body began to burn. In the blink of an eye, his body below his head was completely burned, turning into powerful energy. The surrounding space-time distorted, blocking Lin Feng. Du Wenzong's head wanted to tear the void apart and escape. I'll smash you to death! Little Tian Tian snorted and threw a punch at the distorted space-time, smashing it into smithereens. Du Wenzong's head was sent flying. Lin Feng raised his right hand and slashed out a ray of sword qi. No! Du Wenzong screamed in horror. Puff! Chapter 2457. Du Wenzong died, just like that? That little girl is actually so powerful? Many people stared at Lin Feng with their mouths agape. When Du Wenzong had appeared in the battle between little Tian Tian and Du Wenzong, many people had recognized him. Du Wenzong was a powerful existence with an unfathomable cultivation base. But in the end, Du Wenzong had been killed. What shocked everyone the most was the strength that little Tian Tian had displayed. It was simply too terrifying. They could not believe what they were seeing with their own eyes. Was she really a 5 or 6-year-old little girl with such a powerful cultivation? Although they could not believe it, little Tian Tian was indeed that age. It was only then that everyone realized that little Tian Tian wasn't a burden. Little Tian Tian's cultivation base was simply shocking. Let's go. After taking Du Wenzong's storage ring, Lin Feng said to little Tian Tian. Little Tian Tian stretched out her white and tender hand. Lin Feng grabbed little Tian Tian's hand and quickly flew inside. The thick bolts of lightning that descended from the sky had a great impact on many cultivators. However, Lin Feng and little Tian Tian were not affected at all. Roar! Suddenly, a deep roar came from the depths of the lightning bolts. Immediately after that, huge ferocious beasts charged out. Sky lightning beasts! Not good! These sky lightning beasts are very scary! Hurry up and charge over! Seeing the ferocious beasts, many cultivators cried out in fear. The sky lightning beasts were shaped like flood dragons with wings and scorpion-like tails. They could control lightning, and the barbs at the end of their tails were highly poisonous. These ferocious beasts were born in lightning. They were very powerful and had a savage temperament. They were cruel and bloodthirsty. Encountering a sky lightning beast in a world enveloped by lightning was very troublesome because the sky lightning beasts could control the lightning to attack the cultivators inside. Coupled with the fact that the sky lightning beasts had powerful attacks, it was very easy for the cultivators inside to suffer. The faster cultivators or the cultivators who were closer to the Pleasant Sound Island managed to rush out of the area enveloped by the thunderbolts in advance. As a result, they were not attacked by the sky thunder beasts. However, many of the cultivators were attacked by the sky lightning beasts. The sky lightning beasts were abnormally terrifying. They gathered the lightning bolts around them and furiously attacked the cultivators who tried to pass through the area enveloped by the lightning bolts. Miserable cries rang out one after another. Many cultivators were killed by the heavenly lightning beasts. The sky lightning beasts directly swallowed the cultivators without even chewing. Roar, roar, roar! 5 or 6 heavenly lightning beasts charged toward Lin Feng and little Tian Tian. The flying spiders were about the size of a washbasin. Each of the flying spiders exuded a terrifying aura. Moreover, the flying spiders could spit out poisonous gas and poisonous webs. The flying spider's poisonous gas was extremely powerful. After absorbing it, the body would feel weak and powerless. The flying spider's poisonous webs contained extremely terrifying corrosive properties. Once the body touched it, it would immediately corrode and turn into a pool of dirty blood. Facing the attacks of the flying spiders, Lin Feng had no choice but to take out his defensive treasure, the purple gold globe, to protect himself and little Tian Tian. These poisonous insects were the most difficult to deal with. Because there were too many of them, once they were poisoned, even the white jade toad would not be able to detoxify them. Fortunately, Lin Feng and little Tian Tian's cultivation was strong enough. They successfully broke through the encirclement of the flying spiders. The flying spiders were not willing to let them go and chased after them. However, Lin Feng and little Tian Tian still managed to shake off the flying spiders that were chasing them. Lin Feng and little Tian Tian found a mountain forest to rest. Roar! At this moment, a loud dragon's roar came from afar, startling Lin Feng and little Tian Tian. Little dragon! Eat meat! Little Tian Tian said in a childish voice. The little girl seemed to want to eat dragon meat. Lin Feng smiled bitterly. Let's go and see what's going on. Chapter 2458. Lin Feng and Lil Tiantian soon arrived at the source of the dragon's roar. It was a huge pool of water. Deep within the pool was a 10,000-meter-tall mountain peak. A waterfall cascaded down from the peak, looking majestic and majestic. It was as if the Milky Way had descended from the 9 heavens. Dozens of cultivators were besieging a huge dragon. The dragon belonged to the Eastern Dragon tribe. Similar to the sky dragons, it had a slender body covered in scales. Its body was about 300 meters long, and it was vigorous and powerful. Its coiling body was like a mountain ridge. But unlike the dragons of the East, this giant dragon had a pair of huge wings. That gigantic dragon was the winged dragon of the Eastern Dragon tribe. Winged dragons were born with the ability to control clouds, rain, and lightning. Little dragonling. Lil Tian pointed at the surrounded winged dragon. Her voice was childish, and her jade-like face was incomparably adorable. Anyone who saw her for the first time would fall in love with her. Let's keep it down. Let's see what the outcome of this battle is, Lin Feng said. Lil Tian hurriedly nodded, then covered her mouth with her tiny hands. The winged dragon was extremely powerful. It spat out lightning and arrows at the surrounding cultivators. The cultivators took out their magic treasures or used all sorts of powerful magic to attack the winged dragon. A fierce battle ensued. More than a dozen cultivators died, and the winged dragon was heavily injured. Both sides had suffered great losses. Crack, crack, crack. At this moment, the ground cracked open and a huge beast drilled out from the ground. It was nearly 1,000 meters long, and it looked like a velociraptor that had been magnified many times over. Its body was covered in black scales, and its head was different from the velociraptor's. The vicious beast's head was very strange. It had a bloody mouth and a pair of enormous eyes. Waves of ferocious energy surged out of the vicious beast's body. A skeletal lizard! Lin Feng was shocked. So it was a creature like that. This was a type of vicious beast that lived underground. Back then, it was in the great world of exile. The skeletal lizards wreaked havoc everywhere, and countless people died under their claws. However, even the largest skeletal lizard in the great exiled world was only 100 meters long. However, the skeletal lizard in front of him was simply too huge. After the skeletal monitor lizard appeared, it immediately charged into the battlefield and swung its huge tail at the cultivators. Hurry up and dodge! A group of cultivators exclaimed in horror. The giant skeletal lizard had appeared so suddenly that they didn't have time to dodge its attack. Bang, bang, bang! A series of violent collisions rang out as one cultivator after another was sent flying by the skeletal lizards. Wow! In midair, he vomited large mouthfuls of blood. His face was as pale as a sheet of paper. He had suffered severe injuries. Before those cultivators could react, they were already swallowed by the skeletal lizards. Roar! The skeletal lizard let out a low roar, then opened its bloody mouth and bit at Ing Long's neck. Winged Dragon opened its bloody maw and spat out a ball of lightning at the skeletal lizard. Then, Winged Dragon flapped its wings and its huge body soared into the sky in an attempt to escape. Winged Dragon was very powerful, but it had just fought a bloody battle with a large group of cultivators and was severely injured. Therefore, it was no match for the skeletal lizard at all. Hence, Winged Dragon didn't intend to fight to the death with the skeletal lizard. Winged Dragon wanted to leave, but the skeletal lizard had no intention of letting it go. The skeletal lizard opened its mouth and sucked in. The ball of lightning that Winged Dragon spat out was swallowed by the skeletal lizard. At the same time, the skeletal lizard's tail quickly coiled around Winged Dragon's body. The skeletal lizard's huge body leaped up and arrived in front of Winged Dragon. It bit down on Winged Dragon's neck. Crack! Winged Dragon's neck was bitten off. The powerful Winged Dragon didn't last more than a few moves under the skeletal lizard's attack before it was killed. The skeletal lizard swallowed Winged Dragon. Buzz! At that moment, a ball of energy rushed out from the depths of the pool. Is it that treasure? Lin Feng was shocked. Winged Dragon must have fought a life-and-death battle with a group of cultivators for some treasure. Lin Feng guessed that it was the ball of energy that had just flown out. Roar! The skeletal lizard let out a low roar, wanting to swallow the ball of energy. However, the ball of energy was extremely fast. It instantly broke free from the skeletal lizard's devouring. Little ball is flying over! Little Tian Tian cried out in surprise and quickly rushed out, wanting to catch the ball of energy. She was very childlike, so she was extremely excited when she saw the ball of energy. However, the ball of energy was extraordinary. It also broke free from little Tian Tian. Lin Feng quickly rushed over. He opened his hand and grabbed the ball of energy. A powerful force surged out of the ball of energy and sent Lin Feng flying. So strange! Lin Feng was shocked. He waved his hand and the heaven-devouring jar flew out. Powerful magic power surged into the jar. Buzz! The heaven-devouring jar emitted shocking waves of energy. Then, a powerful suction force surged out. The ball of energy was devoured by Lin Feng's heaven-devouring jar. Ha 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 ha, I got the treasure! Lin Feng laughed. Roar! The skeletal lizard let out a furious roar and pounced at Lin Feng. Lin Feng swung his fist at the lizard. Bang! The two sides collided. An earth-shattering strength penetrated into Lin Feng's body. Lin Feng was blown away by the gigantic skeleton lizard. Lin Feng was astonished. The gigantic skeleton lizard was too strong. You're not allowed to bully Uncle Lin! Little Tian Tian snorted and circled behind the skeletal lizard, grabbing its tail. Then, she exerted force. The skeletal lizard's huge body was sent flying by little Tian Tian. Bang, bang, bang! The surrounding giant trees and a few low mountain peaks were all smashed by the lizard's head. Hee hee hee! This is so fun! Little Tian Tian giggled as she grabbed the lizard's tail and swung its huge body around. Lin Feng could not help but wipe his sweat. Only little Tian Tian could take down such a strong skeletal lizard, right? If anyone else saw such a huge skeletal lizard, wouldn't they be scared half to death? Crack, 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 crack! Just as Tian Tian was having fun, the ground began to crack open. One after another, skeletal lizards crawled out from the ground. As far as the eye could see, there was no end to the sea of skeletal lizards. Roar, roar, roar! Chapter 2459. Seeing so many skeletal lizards, little Tian Tian was scared out of her wits. She threw the skeletal lizard in her hand out. Lin Feng caught little Tian Tian and used the purple gold heavenly ball to protect the two of them. Then, he quickly rushed into the distance. Boom! 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 The skeletal lizards opened their mouths and spat out energy balls at Lin Feng and little Tian Tian. Bang! 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 The energy balls slammed into the energy shield formed by the purple gold heavenly ball. The purple gold heavenly ball's defense was very strong. It blocked the energy ball's attacks. However, there were simply too many of these skeletal lizards, and their attacks came wave after wave. The purple gold heavenly ball could not block the attacks forever. Now, Lin Feng and little Tian Tian were in trouble. Uncle Lin, little Tian Tian is scared. Little Tian Tian hugged Lin Feng. This little girl was usually not afraid of anything. However, there were simply too many of these skeletal lizards, and the little girl couldn't help but feel fearful. Don't be afraid. Uncle is here. Lin Feng patted the little girl's head and quickly rushed out. Boom! Boom! The skeletal lizards continued to release energy balls at Lin Feng and little Tian Tian. After blocking 3 waves of attacks in a row, Lin Feng was gradually unable to hold on. Cracking sounds could be heard. The defensive shield formed by the purple gold heavenly ball began to crack. For Lin Feng, the situation was very bad. His expression turned grave. There were simply too many skeletal lizards. Trying to escape from the siege of so many skeletal lizards was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Looks like I'll have to use this treasure. Lin Feng raised an eyebrow. Swoosh! With a flash of light, Lin Feng took out a huge hammer surrounded by endless lightning energy. This hammer was the forbidden weapon, the purple lightning hammer. The real purple lightning hammer could be an immortal-grade treasure. Therefore, the forbidden artifact purple lightning hammer was extremely terrifying. However, he still had one more use of the purple lightning hammer. After this usage was used up, the forbidden artifact Purple Lightning Hammer would be destroyed. Although this forbidden artifact was powerful, it could only be used 10 times. After using it 10 times, this was one of the greatest weaknesses of forbidden artifacts. Now that the situation was dangerous, Lin Feng naturally couldn't care about anything else. As long as he could preserve his life, not to mention a mere forbidden tool, destroying any magic treasure would be worth it. If a Dharma treasure was destroyed, he could still find a way to obtain a new one. If a person dies, then he would really become a pile of yellow soil. Boom, boom, boom! Terrifying waves of energy surged out from the Purple Lightning Hammer and poured into the Purple Lightning Hammer along with mana. With the Purple Lightning Hammer as the center, the powerful lightning energy began to spread in all directions. The most formidable aspect of the Purple Lightning Hammer was its area of effect attribute. Different magic treasures had different effects. Some magic treasures were suitable for one-on-one combat. Some Dharma treasures were suitable for group attacks. The Purple Lightning Hammer was the most suitable magic treasure for group attacks. When the Purple Lightning Hammer was activated, thick bolts of lightning intertwined and spread out in all directions. Waves after waves of destructive energy waves shook the hearts of everyone present. Divine Hammer! Break! 10,000 beasts! Lin Feng couldn't help but roar. He smashed out with the hammer. Boom! Then, a destructive force spread between heaven and earth. The lightning energy that surged out from the Purple Lightning Hammer seemed to have its own spirituality. It actually condensed into purple lightning dragons. The purple lightning dragons and the skeletal lizards were engaged in a fierce battle. The weaker giant skeletal lizards were no match for the purple lightning dragons and were directly sent flying by the purple lightning dragons. Although the powerful giant skeletal lizards blocked the attack of the purple lightning dragons, they no longer had the energy to attack Lin Feng and little Tian Tian. As Lin Feng's cultivation base increased, the power of the forbidden weapon, the Purple Lightning Hammer, was gradually released. The only pity was that the Purple Lightning Hammer, a powerful forbidden weapon, would be completely destroyed after this use. There was no way to continue using it. Lin Feng used the Purple Lightning Hammer, a powerful forbidden weapon, to kill a bloody path through the crowd of giant skeletal lizards. Whoosh! He carried little Tian Tian and quickly rushed out. Crack! Crack! The Purple Lightning Hammer began to crack. This powerful forbidden weapon was destroyed just like that. It would be great if I could find the real Purple Lightning Hammer. This magic treasure is too powerful. Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter. The Purple Lightning Hammer was one of the top 10 magic treasures of the Absolute Beginning era. Naturally, it was a magic treasure that everyone dreamed of. Lin Feng was no exception. He hoped to obtain this treasure. However, he didn't know if this treasure still existed in the world today. After all, countless top-tier true treasures had been destroyed in the great battles that took place one after another. Many magic treasures like the Purple Lightning Hammer had been destroyed in those battles. Roar! 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 Angry roars could be heard from behind. The giant skeletal lizards were infuriated and quickly chased after Lin Feng. However, how could the speed of these giant skeletal lizards be compared to Lin Feng? After Lin Feng escaped the encirclement of the giant skeletal lizards, he was like a dragon entering the sea. How could these giant skeletal lizards catch up to him? After escaping from the giant skeletal lizards, Lin Feng couldn't wait to see what was inside the energy ball that the heaven-devouring jar had swallowed. He could sense that it was definitely not an ordinary item. Lin Feng found a secluded cave and sealed it. Then, he sent little Tian Tian into the mountain river ring and let her play with Bibi and the dragon rabbit. Although little Tian Tian didn't like to enter the mountain river ring, she was even more unwilling to stay in a narrow cave. At this moment, Lin Feng took out the energy ball. When the energy ball flew out, the energy ball gradually condensed. Lin Feng's strength gradually disappeared and a bone appeared in Lin Feng's vision. A bone? It's actually a bone. Lin Feng was shocked. He didn't expect that the energy ball would actually contain a bone. When Lin Feng reached out to touch the bone, that piece of bone was actually emitting a terrifying killing intent. Bam! The killing intent hit Lin Feng directly and sent Lin Feng flying. Lin Feng's face flushed red and he almost spat out a mouthful of blood. He stared at the bone with a horrified expression. What kind of bone was this? How could it be so terrifying? Roar! Suddenly, a low roar was heard and the bone transformed into a ferocious beast. That ferocious beast roared at Lin Feng in a deep voice. The white tiger bone brought me here. Could there be something in this mountain? Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter. Woo woo woo! At this moment, a series of eerie sounds reverberated throughout the world, sounding like the cries of malicious ghosts. Huff huff huff! Gusts of chilly wind blew, eerie and terrifying. Following that, countless malicious ghosts appeared from all directions. They were densely packed and innumerable, completely surrounding the area. There are so many malicious ghosts. Moreover, their auras are so terrifying. Looking at the malicious ghosts, Lin Feng's expression turned solemn. It was just as the demon lord had said. Vengeful spirits gathered in the nether passage realm. Even the king of hell would be shocked. The malicious ghosts that appeared before him were vengeful spirits that hadn't dispersed and had turned into malicious ghosts. It was no wonder that when he entered the island, he had sensed the aura of the nether passage realm. It seemed that there were too many malicious ghosts, and their vengeful spirits were too strong, so they had connected to the nether passage realm. That was why the power of the nether passage realm had appeared on Melody Island. Netherworld Envoy! Suddenly, a sinister and hoarse voice came from the mountain. Next, a black-robed existence walked out. It was clear that this black-robed being was one of the more powerful evil ghosts among these evil ghosts. I didn't expect so many malicious ghosts to gather here. It seems that I have to send you to the nether passage realm, Lin Feng said indifferently. Do you know the owner of this bone? It was a white tiger saint beast. Back then, it accidentally entered this place and died. Compared to that white tiger saint beast, you are far inferior. How dare you say that you want to send us to the nether passage realm? What a joke. I think we should be the ones sending you to hell, the black-robed malicious ghost said sinisterly. The other vengeful ghosts all laughed eerily. There were too many malicious ghosts, and they were too powerful. Now that they had gathered together, it was too terrifying. However, Lin Feng didn't believe that these malicious ghosts had the strength to kill the white tiger saint beast. Brag. Keep bragging. With your strength, you can kill the white tiger saint beast? You should have a bottom line when bragging, right? I've never seen someone as good at bragging as you. Don't you have any shame? Lin Feng curled his lips and said with disdain. He didn't believe that these malicious ghosts could kill the white tiger saint beast. In reality, the situation was just as Lin Feng had guessed. The white tiger saint beast wasn't killed by these malicious ghosts. The white tiger saint beast had died because of its severe injuries. The white tiger saint beast was responsible for killing. After it died, the killing intent and resentment on its body were extremely dense. Killing intent and resentment were all negative energies. They were great nourishment for these malicious ghosts. Hence, these malicious ghosts gathered together. From then on, they didn't leave this place. More and more malicious ghosts gathered. When these malicious ghosts gathered together, they actually connected to the nether passage realm. After absorbing the energy of the nether passage realm, the cultivation of these malicious ghosts rose steadily. They became stronger and stronger. She was no longer an ordinary evil ghost. After being exposed by Lin Feng, the black-robed malicious ghost didn't feel embarrassed. He sneered and said, Kid, you should be worried about whether you can keep your life. Don't worry about whether I'm bragging or not. Although you are a netherworld envoy, your cultivation isn't enough. Today you will die. We are very interested in devouring the flesh of a netherworld envoy. Attack! The black-robed malicious ghost waved his hand. Screech! All of a sudden, the vengeful ghosts around them let out sharp, ear-piercing shrieks. One by one, the malicious ghosts pounced towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng activated the Netherworld Envoy Talisman to suppress these malicious ghosts. The Netherworld Envoy Talisman strengthened Lin Feng. However, these malicious ghosts didn't belong to the Nether Passage realm. Hence, although the Netherworld Envoy Talisman could suppress the power of these malicious ghosts, it couldn't completely suppress them. There were many powerful malicious ghosts, and their attack power was still extremely terrifying. Moreover, there were so many malicious ghosts, and their numbers were innumerable. The situation was extremely dangerous. Lin Feng sneered and said, "It's a good opportunity to devour you malicious ghosts and cultivate a few more powerful ghost emperors for me." As soon as he said that, Lin Feng took out the ghost rearing jar. The ghost rearing jar emitted a terrifying devouring power. There was a dense horde of malicious ghosts. Chapter 2461. Lin Feng's ghost rearing jar was extremely powerful and specialized in devouring all kinds of ghosts. Naturally, it could also devour these malicious ghosts. Eat, eat, eat! I want to eat these malicious ghosts and continue to evolve. The Ghost Emperor in the Ghost Rearing Jar let out a series of excited roars. The Ghost Emperor could continuously devour malicious ghosts to increase its strength. The Ghost Emperor's strength was already strong enough. Even Lin Feng would not be able to subdue it easily. Therefore, Lin Feng would definitely not let the Ghost Emperor succeed. Therefore, he imprisoned the Ghost Emperor in a corner of the Ghost Rearing Jar. The Ghost Rearing Jar had its own space. Therefore, there was enough space to cultivate powerful ghosts. The Ghost Emperor was not cooperating with Lin Feng now. When Lin Feng cultivated a few more Ghost Emperors, there would definitely be new Ghost Emperors that would recognize Lin Feng as their master. At that time, Lin Feng could directly eliminate the Ghost Emperors that did not cooperate with him and let the Ghost Emperors that had submitted to him devour the Ghost Emperors that did not cooperate with him. At that time, the strength of the Ghost Emperors that had submitted to Lin Feng would increase greatly. Lin Feng's plan was pretty good. Now, everything was proceeding in an orderly manner. His Ghost Rearing Jar was extremely powerful. This Ghost Rearing Jar was the nemesis of all ghosts. This was a treasure that Xian Yueling had casually given to Lin Feng back then. When Lin Feng was training in the underground city, he got to know Xian Yueling. This woman was extremely mysterious. Together with Lin Feng, they formed the male and female evil duo and robbed many cultivators. However, Lin Feng had never figured out Xian Yueling's identity. Ever since they parted, there had been no news of Xian Yueling. He did not know if he would have the chance to see Xian Yueling again. Boom, boom, boom! Waves of destructive power surged out, shaking the void. The powerful devouring power surged out continuously, devouring the densely packed malicious ghosts. Although these malicious ghosts were powerful, they could not do anything against all things in the world. Now, these malicious ghosts were restrained by Lin Feng. Therefore, although these malicious ghosts were constantly struggling, however, they could not escape from the devouring power of the Ghost Rearing Jar. Damn it, it's actually the Ghost Raising Jar! The black-robed malicious spirit couldn't help but let out a furious roar. Leave this place! The black-robed malicious spirit roared. Whoosh whoosh whoosh! The horde of wraiths quickly retreated. The black-robed malicious spirit couldn't wait to cut Lin Feng into pieces, eat Lin Feng's flesh, and drink Lin Feng's blood. However, the black-robed malicious ghost was also suppressed by the Ghost Raising Jar. Therefore, the black-robed malicious ghost could only temporarily avoid Lin Feng's attacks. Under the leadership of the black-robed ghost, the horde of ghosts quickly retreated. Seeing the ghosts retreat, Lin Feng felt that it was a pity. Therefore, in Lin Feng's eyes, these malicious ghosts were resources for him to nurture experts. Now that these vengeful ghosts had fled, his plan to nurture a few more Ghost Emperors had been put on hold. I wonder if I can nurture a Ghost Emperor from the evil ghosts I devoured previously? He would be able to find out after a while. Lin Feng kept the Ghost Raising Jar. At this time, the white tiger beast bone rushed towards the depths of the mountain range, and Lin Feng followed closely behind. As they went deeper into the mountain range, Lin Feng felt a terrifying killing intent. This killing intent was simply suffocating. That is. In a valley, Lin Feng saw a skeleton. The skeleton emitted a cold aura that permeated between heaven and earth. The killing intent condensed around the skeleton even caused the void to distort slightly. White tiger skeleton! Lin Feng looked at the skeleton in shock. This white tiger skeleton was actually completely preserved. He didn't know if the origin bone of the white tiger skeleton was preserved or not. For a terrifying creature like the white tiger sacred beast, the origin bone would often be imprinted with some powerful inheritance. The inheritance of the white tiger sacred beast was too shocking. It was enough to make anyone go crazy. Lin Feng channeled the white tiger killing intent and gradually approached the white tiger skeleton. Roar! Suddenly, an earth-shaking roar came from the white tiger skeleton. Next, a ball of energy flew out, and a slightly illusory white tiger appeared in the ball of energy. This is the white tiger origin spirit? Lin Feng was shocked when he saw the slightly illusory white tiger. The white tiger origin spirit was very important to Lin Feng. This was because Lin Feng had the white tiger clone among his 9 emperor clones. Currently, Lin Feng had refined 4 clones of the 9 emperor clones. One was the golden-winged rock clone. The reason why Lin Feng's speed was so fast was because of the golden-winged rock clone. The heaven-eyed demonic snake clone. Lin Feng's heaven-eyed demonic snake clone was related to the heaven-eyed demonic snake clone. The radiant angel clone. Lin Feng had obtained the ability to control the power of light, but he had never used the radiant angel clone's ability. The Qiongqi clone. Lin Feng had now transformed into a 2-headed Qiongqi clone. When Lin Feng was in the early stages of his cultivation, it was one of his trump cards. The white tiger clone was mainly used for killing. It was the clone with the strongest offensive power among the 9 emperor clones. If Lin Feng could refine the white tiger clone, it would be a great boost to his battle prowess. Lin Feng was very much looking forward to refining the 9 emperor clones. This was because the method to refine the 9 emperor clones originated from the 9 emperors diagram. It was rumored that the 9 emperors diagram was much more terrifying than the 9 demons diagram of the heavenly demon clan. The 9 demons diagram of the heavenly demon clan, when combined into one, was at least one of the top 3 emperor weapons. The 9 emperors diagram was far more powerful than the 9 demons diagram. Lin Feng guessed that the 9 emperors diagram might be an immortal artifact. After refining the 9 emperor clones, it would not only increase his battle prowess. It was said that he could also sense the 9 emperors diagram. At that time, he might be able to find the 9 emperors diagram. If he could find the 9 emperors diagram, it would be too heaven-defying. This was equivalent to having an additional immortal artifact. The white tiger original spirit was very ferocious. It emitted a cruel and bloodthirsty aura, wanting to devour Lin Feng. Lin Feng sneered. If it was the white tiger sacred beast, he would turn and run without thinking. Now, it was only the white tiger original spirit attacking him. Lin Feng naturally would not put a mere white tiger original spirit in his eyes. He operated the arm of dragon and elephant, and blasted out 3 punches in a row. Bang bang bang, Lin Feng and the white tiger original spirit collided 3 times. The white tiger original spirit directly exploded. Then, Lin Feng took out a porcelain bottle and kept the white tiger original spirit inside. Hee hee! With the white tiger original spirit, when I collect enough materials, I can refine the white tiger clone. Lin Feng's lips curled into a smile. His gaze immediately looked at the white tiger bone. His eyes could not help but reveal a burning gaze. The white tiger bone could still emit such a strong killing intent. The origin bone should still be there. He approached the white tiger bone step by step. Found it! Arriving beside the white tiger bone, Lin Feng's eyes suddenly lit up. Chapter 2462. Lin Feng held the golden white tiger bone in his hand. Upon closer inspection, he realized that it was covered in runes. Those runes were mysterious. Mysterious and unfathomable, it emitted a tyrannical fluctuation and aura. It really is the origin bone. Lin Feng was pleasantly surprised. Obtaining the source bone was an extremely important matter to him. Who knew, the White Tiger clan's heaven-defying inheritance might be recorded on the source bone. If that was the case, then he would have profited greatly. These ordinary beast bones are actually not damaged. This is really great. These White Tiger bones can be used as materials to refine my White Tiger avatar. Lin Feng took all the White Tiger bones and put them away. Now that he had the White Tiger skeleton, he only needed to find some supplementary materials to refine the White Tiger clone. Lin Feng did not leave the valley. The evil ghost army had already fled, so this place was very safe. Lin Feng planned to study the White Tiger origin bone carefully. His divine will entered the White Tiger origin bone. Immediately, Lin Feng heard a domineering roar. He felt as if he had been pulled into an ancient world. That ancient world was filled with war cries. Countless gods, demons, immortals, demons, Buddhas, and other races were fighting in midair. It was hard to tell who had the upper hand. This should be one of the great wars in history. Over the long years, many great wars had broken out in the myriad of worlds. Many of them were extremely tragic. Those great wars had even led to the end of many great eras. Therefore, Lin Feng did not know which great war had broken out in this world. Roar! A tiger's roar came from afar. A dense group of cultivators was attacking a White Tiger sacred beast. The situation was extremely dangerous. The White Tiger sacred beast was severely injured. Am I going to die? Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. At that moment, the White Tiger sacred beast emitted a terrifying aura. Boom! When the aura was emitted, it could destroy the world and shatter the firmament. That was the White Tiger's domineering aura. The White Tiger was in charge of killing. Therefore, the domineering aura condensed by the White Tiger was an extremely violent domineering aura that was extremely powerful. Among the 9 types of domineering aura, the White Tiger domineering aura belonged to the 7th grade of domineering aura. It was the Cyan Haki. This kind of domineering aura was heaven-defying in terms of attack, defense, deterrence, and so on. The White Tiger's domineering aura was released. The cultivators who were besieging the White Tiger simply couldn't bear it. Their bodies exploded, and they died on the spot. All the images disappeared without a trace. Lin Feng's inner sight returned to reality. Huff, huff, huff. He was panting heavily. His face revealed an incomparably shocked expression. He looked at the White Tiger origin bone in his hand, his voice filled with excitement. White Tiger Haki. It's actually White Tiger Haki. This is Cyan Haki. Among the 9 types of Haki, it's the 7th level of Haki. Lin Feng couldn't help but take a deep breath. He never thought that the White Bone origin bone would record the White Bone dominance. This was a pleasant surprise for him. It could even be said to be a huge surprise. Now, Lin Feng had cultivated the Epic Haki and the Supreme Haki. He knew how terrifying the Haki was and how powerful the Haki was for cultivation. Theoretically speaking, Lin Feng could now do 3 things at once. He could activate 3 types of Haki at the same time. It was unknown how powerful the 3 types of Haki would be when used together. And it was said that a cultivator could cultivate up to 9 types of Haki. Different types of Haki had different power, and the focus was also different. Some Haki might be the main attack. For example, the White Tiger Haki had extremely powerful attack power. Some Haki focused on defense. For example, the Black Tortoise Haki focused on defense. It was said that once the Black Tortoise Haki was released, ghosts and gods would find it difficult to hurt. Immortals and Buddhas would find it difficult to destroy. In a battle between cultivators, no matter how others attacked, they wouldn't be able to hurt you, but you could hurt others. The result of this battle could be imagined. Therefore, the existence that controlled the Black Tortoise Haki was the one that couldn't be offended the most. Because you couldn't break his defense at all. If the 2 sides fought, the one who would suffer would definitely be you. Lin Feng's Master Turtle, was the Black Tortoise sacred beast. However, Lin Feng had been apprenticed for so long, and he had only seen this cheap master make a move once. It was the time when he killed His Holiness. After that, he had never seen Master Turtle make a move again. Lin Feng didn't know if his cheap master understood the black tortoise hockey. If he did, the Red World Fairy, who was known as the #1 expert in the 9 provinces Great World, might not even be a match for his cheap master. Lin Feng's spiritual will once again invaded the white tiger origin bone. This time, his spiritual will wasn't pulled into that ancient world. Instead, he obtained a cultivation chant. The white tiger aura, the Tao of aged metal, can kill 10,000 with a thought, can kill immortals and Buddhas. Lin Feng softly chanted this cultivation chant. A high-level hockey like the white tiger hockey could be cultivated postnatal. But the prerequisite was, Lin Feng needed to refine the white bone origin bone into his body. The white tiger holy origin bone didn't reject Lin Feng's body. To cultivate the white tiger hockey, one needed to use the power of the white bone origin bone. If the white tiger origin bone rejected Lin Feng, then Lin Feng wouldn't be able to cultivate the white tiger hockey. I'm not from the white tiger clan, so I don't have the qualifications to cultivate the white tiger hockey. If I fuse the white tiger origin bone into my body will have the aura of the white tiger clan. This way, I can cultivate the white tiger hockey. I wonder if my understanding is correct? Lin Feng transmitted his voice to the Demon Lord. The Demon Lord said, How can it be so simple? The white tiger origin bone will probably have some unknown effects, but the prerequisite is that the white tiger origin bone doesn't reject your body. If the white tiger origin bone rejects your body, even if you obtain the cultivation method of the white tiger hockey, you won't be able to cultivate it. Lin Feng nodded. The Demon Lord was right on this point. In the past, Lin Feng had obtained a saint's bone and had absorbed it. The sacred bone contained unimaginable power. It was one of Lin Feng's trump cards. Therefore, Lin Feng wasn't particularly unfamiliar with the refined bone body. After all, he had shocked everyone once before. Where should I refine the white tiger origin bone into my body? Lin Feng asked. The Demon Lord said, Dragons follow the clouds, tigers follow the wind. If it's the dragon origin bone, I suggest you refine it into your spine to protect it. If it's the tiger origin bone, I suggest you refine it into your thighs. Thighs? Lin Feng was surprised.